The gun clicks against her temple just as the vows finish. Alara Voss doesn't scream. She stares into the eyes of her new husband, Dario Moretti, the man who bought her like livestock, and watches something flicker behind that dead gaze. Not love. Never that. Something colder. Ownership. This isn't a wedding. It's a transaction sealed in blood and silk. If you want to see how a woman survives being sold to the devil himself, stay until the end. Hit that like button and drop a comment with your city. I want to see how far this story travels. The dress weighs 40 pounds. Alara knows because she counted every bead, every crystal, every stitch of imported lace, while seamstresses pinned her into it like a butterfly under glass. 3 weeks of fittings, 3 weeks of her father refusing to meet her eyes, 3 weeks of pretending this wasn't happening while the calendar bled days toward inevitability. Now she stands in a marble corridor outside closed doors, and her lungs won't fill properly. You're hyperventilating. The woman beside her, Lucia, Dario's sister, his blood, doesn't sound concerned. She sounds clinical. Breathe through your nose. You pass out before the doors open. He'll think you're weak. I am weak, Alara whispers. Then lie better. The doors swing open. 200 faces turn toward her like flowers tracking the sun. Except there's no warmth here, just calculation, assessment, the kind of looks you give merchandise. Her father sits in the third row. He's crying. Alara hates him for it. The aisle stretches forever. White marble veined with gold, lined with arrangements of lilies that smell like funerals. Her shoes pinch. The bodice crushes her ribs. She forces herself forward, one step, then another, because stopping means breaking, and she won't give these vultures the satisfaction. At the end of the aisle, Dario Moretti waits. He's younger than she expected. 32, maybe 33, with the kind of face that would be handsome if it held any warmth. Dark hair swept back, jaw sharp enough to cut, eyes the color of slate before a storm. He wears his tuxedo like armor, perfectly tailored, buttoned tight, not a thread out of place. He doesn't smile when she reaches him, doesn't offer his hand, just watches her with the patience of a man who knows she has nowhere to run. The officiant begins. His voice echoes off vaulted ceilings, words about unity and partnership that ring so hollow, Alara almost laughs. She doesn't hear most of it. Her heartbeat drowns everything else, a drum march toward execution. Dario Alessandro Moretti, do you take this woman? I do. Flat, emotionless, like confirming a dinner reservation. Alara Marie Voss, do you take this man? Her mouth opens. Nothing comes out. Dario's eyes narrow fractionally. The silence stretches. Somewhere in the crowd, someone coughs. Her father makes a small, broken sound. I do. The words taste like ash. By the power vested in me. A door slams open at the back of the hall. Everyone turns. A man stumbles in, blood on his shirt, face ghost white, moving with the jerky desperation of someone being chased. He sees Dario, and his knees buckle. They're coming, the man gasps. Russo's men, they know you're... The gunshot is so loud it steals the air from the room. The man drops. Blood spreads across white marble in a bloom of red that's almost pretty. Alara doesn't scream. She's too shocked, too frozen. She watches Dario lower his gun, a sleek black thing that appeared from nowhere, and tuck it back inside his jacket with the casual ease of checking his phone. Clear the body, he says to no one in particular. 2 men in suits materialize, grab the corpse by the ankles, drag it toward a side door. The blood trail follows like a grotesque wedding runner. Dario turns back to the officiant. Continue. The old man's hands shake so badly, his book rattles. I now pronounce you... We're done here. Dario's hand closes around Alara's wrist. Not gentle, not rough, just certain. Everyone out. The crowd moves like a school of fish, fast, synchronized, no questions asked. Within 90 seconds, the hall empties. The only sounds left are Alara's ragged breathing and the click of Lucia's heels as she approaches. Russo's crew hit the east checkpoint 10 minutes ago, Lucia reports. Marco's dead. So is Chen. They're trying to box us in. How many? 20, maybe more. Dario's grip on Alara's wrist tightens fractionally. Get her to the penthouse. Use the secondary route. And you? I'm going to have a conversation with whoever's stupid enough to crash my wedding. He releases Alara's wrist and she stumbles back, her heel catching on the dress. Lucia catches her elbow, steadies her with surprising strength. "Can you run in that thing?" Lucia asks. What?" "The dress. Can you run?" Alara looks down at 40 pounds of beaded silk. "No." "Then we rip it." Before Alara can protest, Lucia produces a knife from somewhere and slashes upward from the hem. Fabric tears with a sound like screaming. The weight drops away. Alara's left in the bodice and a tattered skirt that hits mid-thigh. "Better," Lucia says. "Move." They run. The building is a maze. Hallways bleeding into hallways. Stairs spiraling up and down. Doors that all look the same. Lucia navigates without hesitation, one hand clamped around Alara's wrist, heels clicking out a rhythm that sounds like a countdown. Behind them, gunfire erupts. "Don't stop!" Lucia snaps when Alara's head turns. "Eyes forward. Breathe. Move." They burst through a door into underground parking. The air reeks of oil and exhaust. A black SUV idles near the far wall, driver already behind the wheel. Lucia shoves Alara toward it. "Get in. Middle seat. Head down." Alara climbs in. The leather is cold against her bare legs. Lucia slides in beside her, gun already drawn, eyes scanning the darkness beyond the windows. The driver accelerates before the door fully closes. They scream out of the garage into daylight, so bright it feels like an assault. Alara squints against it, disoriented, her brain struggling to process the last 10 minutes. Wedding, gunshot, blood, running. What the hell just happened? Her voice cracks on the last word. "Welcome to the family," Lucia says without looking at her. The SUV weaves through traffic with precision that borders on reckless. Horns blare, tires screech. The driver doesn't slow. Alara braces herself against the seat, knuckles white, stomach churning. "Is Dario—" "He's fine. He's always fine. That man, the one who came in, he's dead and stupid. Never interrupt a Moretti wedding." Lucia finally glances at her. "You're handling this better than the last one." "The last one?" "Dario's first wife. She screamed for 2 hours straight. Then she tried to jump out a window." Alara's stomach drops. "What happened to her?" "Nothing good?" Lucia's attention returns to the window. "Don't ask questions you don't want answered." They drive for 20 minutes. The city transforms around them, from the polished downtown core to older neighborhoods with crumbling brick and iron bars on windows. Then up into hills where houses hide behind gates and walls topped with glass. The penthouse building rises like a monument to excess, all steel and glass, reflective surfaces that make it impossible to see inside. The SUV descends into another garage, this one even more secure than the first. Gates close behind them with hydraulic finality. "Out," Lucia orders. An elevator waits. Lucia's palm on a scanner, her eye to another. The doors open. They ascend in silence so complete Alara can hear her own heartbeat. The penthouse occupies the entire top floor. Alara steps out into a space that belongs in magazines. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, furniture that costs more than her father's house, art on walls that she recognizes from stolen glimpses in museum catalogs. Everything is white or black or chrome. Clean, cold, perfect. "Your room," Lucia points to a hallway. "Third door, bathroom attached, clothes in the closet, don't touch anything else." "When does Dario—" "When he's done. Could be an hour, could be 3 days, don't wait up." Lucia leaves without ceremony. The elevator doors close. Alara stands alone in the silence, still wearing the ruins of her wedding dress, dried sweat cold against her skin. She walks to the windows. The city spreads below like a circuit board, lights beginning to flicker on as dusk creeps in. Somewhere down there, her father is probably drinking himself unconscious. Somewhere down there, people are living normal lives. Somewhere down there, Dario Moretti is doing whatever men like him do to people stupid enough to challenge them. Alara presses her forehead against the glass. It's cool, solid, unyielding, like everything else in this place. The room Lucia indicated is less a bedroom and more a suite. King bed with white linens. Sitting area. Desk. The bathroom is all marble and chrome, with a shower that could fit 6 people in a tub deep enough to drown in. Alara peels off what's left of the dress. It falls in a heap of destroyed silk and crushed dreams. She steps into the shower and turns the water as hot as she can stand. The heat doesn't help. She scrubs her skin until it's raw, trying to wash off the last 12 hours. The fittings, the ceremony, the blood spreading across marble. That man's face. Terror and resignation mixing into something worse than either alone. The gun appearing in Dario's hand like magic. The complete lack of hesitation before he pulled the trigger. She stays under the water until it runs cold, then wraps herself in a towel that's somehow softer than anything she's ever owned. The closet contains exactly what Lucia promised. Clothes, all in her size, all new. Dresses and slacks and blouses arranged by color. Shoes lined up like soldiers. Everything is expensive. Everything is impersonal. Everything is a cage pretending to be a gift. Elara pulls on the simplest thing she finds. Black pants, white shirt. Her hair hangs wet and heavy down her back. She should eat, should sleep, should do something productive with this space between one life and whatever comes next. Instead, she walks back to the windows. Night has fully fallen now. The city glitters below, each light representing someone's life, someone's choices, someone's freedom. You can't jump, they don't open. Elara spins. Dario stands in the doorway. He's shed the tuxedo jacket, but still wears the shirt and vest, sleeves rolled to his elbows. There's blood on his cuffs, small, dark spatters that could be wine if you didn't know better. I wasn't, Elara starts. Everyone thinks about it at first. He moves into the room with that same economical grace from the wedding. Nothing wasted, nothing rushed. The windows, the balcony, the drop. Then they realize the glass is 3 inches thick and bulletproof, designed to keep threats out. His eyes find hers. An asset's in. Is that what I am? An asset? You're my wife. He says it the same way he said his vows, empty of inflection. That makes you the second most valuable thing I own. What's the first? My reputation. He crosses to a cabinet hidden in the wall, presses a panel. It swings open to reveal crystal decanters filled with amber liquid. He pours 2 fingers into a glass, doesn't offer her any. Your father owed me $800,000. He couldn't pay, so we made an arrangement. $800,000. Elara knew her father gambled, knew he'd been desperate. But $800,000? That's insane, she breathes. That's compound interest. Dario drinks. He came to me 2 years ago, borrowed $50 to keep his business afloat. Promised to pay back $60 within 6 months. Didn't. The interest accumulated, the deadline passed. He borrowed more to cover the first debt. Classic spiral. So you took me instead. I gave him a choice, the debt or a deal. He chose the deal. He chose to sell his daughter. He chose to live. Dario finishes his drink, sets the glass down with a soft click. The alternative was less pleasant for everyone involved, your mother, your sister, the nice house on Maple Street with the blue shutters and the garden your mother tends every Sunday. Ice floods Elara's veins. You threatened my family. I stated facts. Your father made his choice based on those facts. That's not a threat. That's business. Business. The word tastes like poison. You'll learn the difference. He moves toward her and every instinct screams to back away, but she forces herself still. He stops close enough that she can smell his cologne, something dark and expensive. Your role is simple. Be presentable. Be silent unless asked to speak. Represent this family appropriately. In exchange, you live in luxury most people can't imagine. You want for nothing material. Except freedom. Freedom is overrated. People with freedom make mistakes. Mistakes have consequences. His hand comes up and Elara flinches before she can stop herself. He notices. Something flickers across his face. Not quite amusement, not quite annoyance. He doesn't touch her, just taps his own temple with one finger. You already think I'm a monster, he says quietly. Good. Monsters are predictable. You know what to expect from a monster. It's the humans who surprise you. He turns to leave. Wait. The word escapes before Elara can stop it. The man at the wedding, the one you... Traitor. He sold information to Russo. Got 6 of my people killed last month. Dario doesn't turn back. He knew the consequences. Did he have a family? Yes. What happens to them? They receive his final paycheck and a severance package. Standard protocol for employee death. But he was a traitor. His family wasn't. Now Dario does turn, and his eyes are completely flat. I'm not needlessly cruel, Ilara. Just efficient. The family did nothing wrong. They suffer enough from his stupidity. Adding to it serves no purpose. He leaves before she can form another question. Ilara doesn't sleep that night. She lies in the enormous bed, staring at the ceiling, listening to the silence. At some point, she hears movement from somewhere else in the penthouse. Footsteps, a door closing, the hum of voices too distant to make out words. She thinks about her sister, Mara, 14 and impossibly naive, still believing the world is fundamentally good. What did their father tell her? That Ilara was getting married to a nice man? That this was love? She thinks about her mother, who stopped fighting her father's decisions years ago, who learned that resistance only brought more pain. Is that what this is? Training? Breaking her down until she accepts the cage? She thinks about the gun appearing in Dario's hand, the absolute absence of hesitation, the blood spreading. When dawn finally bleeds gray light through the windows, Ilara gives up on sleep. She showers again, dresses in different clothes from the closet, dark jeans, simple sweater. Her reflection in the mirror looks like a stranger, pale, hollow-eyed, defeated. She forces her shoulders back, lifts her chin. If they want her broken, she'll make them work for it. The penthouse is silent when she emerges. She explores cautiously, cataloging everything. The main living space with its sterile perfection, a dining room with a table that seats 16, a kitchen that's more laboratory than home, all stainless steel and gleaming surfaces. A library. She stops in the doorway. The room is different from the rest of the penthouse, warmer somehow. Wood shelves, floor to ceiling, packed with books that look actually read rather than decorative. A leather chair near the window, worn smooth at the arms. A side table with a lamp and reading glasses. This room belongs to someone. Ilara steps inside, drawn despite herself. The books are eclectic, philosophy next to pulp fiction, history beside poetry. She pulls one at random. Marcus Aurelius. The pages fall open to a passage someone has underlined. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Help you with something? Ilara drops the book, catches it before it hits the floor, turns to find Lucia in the doorway, coffee cup in hand, eyebrow raised. I was just... Ilara fumbles. Snooping. Normal for the first week. Lucia enters, retrieves the book, returns it to the shelf with the automatic precision of someone who knows exactly where it belongs. This is Dario's space. He doesn't like people touching his things. I'm sorry, I didn't know. Now you do. Lucia studies her with that same clinical assessment from yesterday. You look like hell. Thanks. Didn't sleep? Would you? First night, no. After that, you get used to it. Or you don't and you break. Lucia sips her coffee. Jury's still out on which category you fall into. What happened to the first wife? The question tumbles out before Ilara can reconsider. Lucia's expression doesn't change. You really want to know? Yes. She lasted 8 months. Spent most of it either hysterical or catatonic. Dario had her committed to a private facility upstate. Signed divorce papers 3 weeks later. Last I heard, she's living in Vermont under a new name, heavily medicated, and forbidden from ever speaking about this family. 8 months. Why did he marry her? Same reason he married you, strategy. Her father owed money too. Turned out she was too weak for this life. Lucia's eyes bore into Ilara's. Question is, are you? Before Ilara can answer, Lucia's phone buzzes. She glances at it, her jaw tightening. Get dressed. Something nice but not flashy. You have 15 minutes. For what? Dario wants you downstairs. The nice but not flashy dress Ilara chooses is charcoal gray, hitting just below the knee, with a neckline that reveals nothing. She adds small earrings, minimal makeup to hide the exhaustion. Her hands shake while fastening the clasp on simple black heels. Lucia meets her at the elevator. She's changed into a black suit that makes her look like a funeral director or an executioner. Rules, Lucia says as they descend. Don't speak unless asked a direct question. Don't touch anything. Don't stare. If someone tries to engage you, defer to Dario. And for the love of God, don't cry. Where are we going? You'll see. The elevator opens into the garage. The same SUV from yesterday waits, engine running. A different driver. This one built like a concrete wall with scars that tell stories Alara doesn't want to hear. They drive into a part of the city Alara has never seen. Industrial. Abandoned warehouses with shattered windows. Streets where the potholes outnumber the intact sections of pavement. The SUV stops before a building that looks ready to collapse. Rust stains run down the corrugated metal sides. The few windows are boarded over. Dario's car is already there. A black sedan that gleams obscenely against the decay surrounding it. Out, Lucia orders. Ilara's legs barely hold her. The air smells like rot and oil. Something skitters in the shadows. Rat, probably, too quick to see. The warehouse door hangs open. Lucia goes first, hand inside her jacket where Alara knows a gun waits. Alara follows because what else can she do? Inside is worse than outside. The space is vast and dark, lit only by a few work lights that create more shadows than illumination. Water drips somewhere, each drop echoing. The floor is stained with things Alara doesn't want to identify. Dario stands in the center, surrounded by 6 men. 5 are his. She recognizes the same predatory stillness from the wedding guests. The 6th is on his knees, hands bound behind his back, face already swelling from impact. Dario's jacket is off. His sleeves are rolled up. He looks almost casual. Alara. He doesn't turn. Doesn't raise his voice. Somehow she hears him perfectly. Come here. Her feet move without permission. One step, another. The sound of her heels on concrete feels too loud, too real. She stops beside him. The man on the floor looks up. His eyes widen with recognition, though Alara has never seen him before in her life. This is Marco Russo, Dario says, still not looking at her. Brother to the man who owns the operation that's been trying to undercut me for the last 3 months. Yesterday, his people thought they could disrupt my wedding, make a statement, show that I'm not untouchable. Dario finally turns to her. His eyes are completely empty. They were wrong. He nods to one of his men. The man steps forward with a knife, not a tactical blade, but something industrial. A box cutter. No, wait! Marco's voice cracks. Please, I'll tell you anything. I can give you... I don't need you to give me anything, Dario interrupts. I already have everything I need. Your brother's locations, his supply routes, the names of his buyers. I've had that information for weeks. Then why? Because you made a mistake. And mistakes have consequences. Dario takes the box cutter, tests the edge with his thumb. A thin line of red appears. Alara's stomach turns. This is the part, Dario says quietly, speaking to Marco but his eyes on Alara, where you understand what it means to cross me. Not theories, not stories, facts. He moves with surgical precision. The blade finds flesh. Marco screams, high and broken and utterly hopeless. Alara's vision tunnels. Her ears ring. She tries to look away, but Lucia's hand is suddenly on her shoulder, holding her in place. Watch, Lucia whispers. This is your education. It takes 5 minutes. 5 minutes that feel like hours while Dario systematically destroys Marco Russo. Not killing him. That would be mercy. Just teaching a lesson in pain and consequences and the price of defiance. When it's over, Marco is unconscious. Dario wipes the blade clean on the man's shirt, hands it back to his associate. Drop him at his brother's club, Dario says. Make sure he wakes up before you leave him. I want him to remember every second. Then he turns to Alara. She's shaking, can't stop. Her jaw aches from clenching, nausea claws up her throat. You're going to be sick, Dario observes. Outside, not here. Alara runs. Bursts through the door into daylight that feels like a slap. She makes it 3 steps before her stomach empties. Again, again. Until there's nothing left but dry heaves that make her ribs scream. Lucy appears with a bottle of water. Waits until Alara can breathe again. Better? Alara takes the water with trembling hands, rinses, spits. Why did he make me watch that? Because you needed to understand. Understand what? What he is. What we are. What you're part of now. Lucia takes the empty bottle. The first wife. She watched something similar and tried to kill herself that night. slit her wrists in the bathtub. We found her in time, but that's when Dario knew she'd never survive this world. Alara straightens slowly. Her legs still shake, but she forces them steady. He's testing me. Everything is a test with him. Lucia actually smiles, a thin, sharp expression devoid of warmth. Congratulations. You just passed the first one. You didn't scream, didn't faint, didn't try to run to Marco's defense. You watched, and you stayed standing. I'm going to be sick again. Probably, but not here. Not in front of him. Lucia steers her toward the SUV. In this life, strength isn't about not being afraid. It's about being terrified and not showing it. Dario emerges from the warehouse. He's put his jacket back on, looks completely composed, like he just finished a business meeting instead of torture. His eyes find Alara. Hold. She forces herself to meet his gaze. Doesn't flinch. Doesn't look away. Something crosses his face, there and gone too fast to identify. He nods once, turns to his own car. Good, Lucia murmurs. You're learning. But the ride back is silent. Alara stares out the window, seeing nothing. Her mind keeps replaying the last hour. The knife, the blood, the sounds. Dario's complete lack of emotion while he did it. They're stopped at a red light when Alara finally speaks. How long have you worked for him? Lucia doesn't answer immediately. I don't work for him. He's my brother. I work with him. How long have you been doing this? Since I was 17, our father died when I was 12. Dario was 19. Someone had to take over the family business. Someone had to make sure we survived. The light changes. They move forward. Every choice he makes, every brutal thing he does, it's because the alternative is worse. You think he's a monster. Maybe he is, but monsters protect their own. What about everyone else? Everyone else is everyone else's problem. Back at the penthouse, Alara goes straight to her room, strips off the dress, steps into the shower and scrubs again, trying to wash away the memory of what she witnessed. It doesn't work. That night, she's summoned to dinner. The dining room table has been set for two, Dario at the head, a place for her to his right. The food is elaborate. Steak, potatoes, vegetables arranged like art. Wine in crystal glasses. Dario is already seated, reading something on a tablet. He barely glances up when she enters. Sit. Alara sits. The chair is too big, the table too long. Everything in this place is designed to make her feel small. You did well today, Dario says without preamble. Better than I expected. I threw up. After, during, you held yourself together. That matters. He sets the tablet aside. Eat. You haven't had anything since yesterday. Alara's stomach rebels at the thought, but she forces herself to cut a piece of steak. Chew, swallow, it tastes like sawdust. Why did you make me watch that? She asks. So you'd understand the stakes. The world you're in now doesn't allow for ignorance. People who don't understand consequences make fatal mistakes. I'm not planning to make mistakes. Everyone says that. Then they get comfortable, complacent. They forget that every action has a reaction. He drinks his wine. I need you to remember. Always. They eat in silence for several minutes. Alara manages 3 bites before giving up. Your father called, Dario says suddenly. Asked if you were settling in well. Alara's hand tightens on her fork. What did you tell him? That you're exactly where you're supposed to be. His eyes find hers. He wanted to speak to you. I told him that wasn't possible, not for a while. How long is a while? Until I decide you won't say something stupid that gives him false hope. Dario refills his glass. He sold you, Alara, for his debts and his life. You don't owe him comfort. He's still my father. Then he should have been a better man. The words land like a slap. Alara sets down her fork with enough force to make it ring against the plate. You don't get to judge him. I just did. Dario leans back in his chair, studying her. You're angry. Good. Anger is useful. It means you're not broken yet. I'll never be broken. Everyone breaks eventually. The question is whether you heal stronger or shatter completely. He stands, leaving his meal half finished. Get some sleep, he says from the doorway. Tomorrow we have a social obligation. You'll need to be presentable. What kind of obligation? The kind where you smile and represent this family appropriately. Lucia will brief you in the morning. He leaves. Alara sits alone at the massive table, surrounded by untouched food and empty chairs, and feels the weight of her new reality settling over her like concrete. But sleep doesn't come easier the second night. Alara lies awake, tracking the hours by the city lights below. At some point after midnight, she hears footsteps in the hallway. Pause outside her door. Continue on. She holds her breath until they fade. Morning brings Lucia at 7 sharp, carrying coffee and a garment bag. Up, Lucia orders. We have 4 hours to make you look like you belong in this world. The social obligation turns out to be a charity gala. Lucia drills her on names, faces, connections. Who to acknowledge, who to avoid, what topics are safe, which are landmines. Miranda Chen, old money, hates Dario but needs him. Smile but don't engage. Thomas Volkov, runs the docks, currently under investigation. Be polite. Nothing more. Catherine Ross, widow, harmless, collects gossip like stamps. Give her nothing personal. The dress Lucia selected is midnight blue, elegant but conservative. Jewelry. Simple diamonds that cost more than Alara's childhood home. Hair swept up, makeup professionally applied to hide the exhaustion. When she looks in the mirror, she sees someone else. Someone expensive. Contained. Someone who could almost belong in Dario's world. Almost. The gala is held at a hotel so opulent it makes the penthouse look modest. Crystal chandeliers, marble floors, people dripping in wealth that 3 generations haven't diminished. Dario meets them in the lobby. He's in a tuxedo that probably costs more than her father's yearly income. He looks at Alara once, nods approval, offers his arm. Remember, he murmurs as they enter the ballroom, you are my wife, represent that appropriately. The room falls silent when they enter. Every eye turns. Every conversation stops. Then the whispers start, a hiss of speculation and assessment that follows them like a wake. Dario navigates it all with the ease of someone who's done this 1,000 times. He introduces Alara to person after person, his hand never leaving the small of her back. A gentle touch. Proprietary. She smiles, shakes hands, says the right things in the right tone, becomes the empty vessel Dario needs her to be. You must be so happy, Miranda Chen says with a smile that doesn't reach her eyes. Such a whirlwind romance. Very happy, Alara lies smoothly. And your family? They must be thrilled. They are. How wonderful. Young love is so rare these days. Miranda's gaze slides to Dario, especially in your world. My wife's happiness is my priority, Dario says with absolutely no inflection. They move on. 3 hours. 3 hours of performance, of pretending, of being the perfect accessory to a monster in a tuxedo. When they finally leave, Alara's face aches from smiling. In the car, Dario loosens his bow tie. You did well, no mistakes. Thank you. The words are automatic. Miranda will spread rumors anyway. Don't let it bother you. Why does she hate you? I bought her family's shipping company when they went bankrupt. She considers it theft. I consider it business. He glances at her. In this world, everyone has a grievance. The trick is making sure their grievances don't become actions. They ride in silence for a while. Alara watches the city slide past outside the window. Why don't you just leave? She asks quietly. You have money, power. You could disappear, start over, and go where? Do what? Dario's laugh is hollow. This is all I know. All I've ever known. My father built this empire. His father before him. It's in my blood now. You don't just walk away from blood. You could try. Could you walk away from your family, even after what your father did? The question lands like a punch. Because the answer is no. Despite everything, despite the betrayal and the anger, she couldn't. She'd hate him forever, but she couldn't abandon him. That's the trap, Dario says softly. We're all trapped by the people we love. The difference is, I've accepted it. You're still fighting. The penthouse is dark when they return. Lucia has already gone to her own quarters. The staff, invisible during the day, have left everything perfect and pristine. Alara retreats to her room, desperate to shed the evening like a second skin. She's halfway through unzipping the dress when the door opens. Dario stands in the doorway. I didn't say you could come in, Alara says, hating how her voice shakes. This is my home. Every room is mine to enter. But he doesn't move forward, just watches her from the threshold. You're afraid of me. Of course I'm afraid of you. Good. Fear is honest. He leans against the doorframe. But I'm not here to hurt you. Despite what you think, I don't enjoy causing unnecessary pain. Just necessary pain? Exactly. He studies her for a long moment. I want you to understand something. This marriage, it's not about affection or companionship. It's strategy. You provide legitimacy, a human face to soften my reputation. In return, you get protection and comfort most people only dream about. I don't want your protection. Then you're a fool, because without it, you're just another target for anyone who wants leverage against me. He straightens. I'm not asking you to love me. I'm not even asking you to like me. I'm asking you to survive. Can you do that? Alara meets his eyes. I don't know yet. For the first time, something almost like respect flickers across his face. At least you're honest. He turns to leave, pauses in the doorway. The first wife, the one Lucia told you about. She thought I'd rescue her. Thought that underneath all this I was secretly good, that love would redeem me. His voice drops. I'm not good, Alara. There's no redemption coming. The sooner you accept that, the better chance you have of surviving this. He closes the door. Alara stands alone in her expensive cage, still wearing her beautiful lie of a dress, and feels something shift inside her. Not acceptance, not surrender, something harder, colder. If this is the world she's trapped in, she'll learn its rules. Not to play the game the way Dario wants, but to find the cracks in his armor and exploit them. She doesn't want to survive. She wants to win. And wins start with understanding your enemy. Alara walks to the window, looks out at the city sparkling below, and begins to plan. 3 weeks in, and Alara has memorized the pattern of Dario's footsteps. Heavy in the morning when he's thinking. Lighter at night when he's made his decisions. Absent entirely when he's hunting. She hears them now, the thinking rhythm, pacing the library while she sits in the living room pretending to read. The book is some Italian novel Lucia recommended. Alara hasn't absorbed a single word in 20 minutes. Her mind keeps circling back to yesterday. The man in the restaurant, middle-aged, soft around the middle, wearing a wedding ring that caught the light when he reached for his wine. He'd been talking too loud, laughing too much, clearly trying to impress his dinner companion. Then Dario walked in. The man's face went white. He stood so fast his chair toppled backward, tried to run, made it 3 steps before 2 of Dario's men materialized from nowhere and dragged him into the kitchen. Dario had simply continued to their table, ordered for both of them, ate his meal while sounds Alara tried not to identify filtered through the kitchen door. When dessert arrived, so did the man, or what was left of him, conscious but broken. His dinner companion was gone. The restaurant was empty except for Dario's people. He stole from me, Dario had explained, cutting into tiramisu. Skimmed off shipments for 6 months, thought I wouldn't notice. Alara had pushed her untouched plate away. Eat, Dario ordered. The food is excellent here. Waste is disrespectful. She'd eaten, tasted nothing, hated herself for swallowing. Now, 24 hours later, she still feels the weight of that meal in her stomach like stones. The pacing stops. Dario appears in the doorway, phone in hand, jaw tight, in that way that means someone just made a very expensive mistake. Get dressed, he says. Something practical. We're going out. Where? Somewhere you need to see. He's gone before she can ask anything else. Lucia appears 10 minutes later with clothes, black jeans, fitted jacket, boots with grip. Combat casual. What's happening? Alara asks while changing. Dario's being cryptic, which means it's bad. Lucia checks her gun with practiced efficiency. Just keep your mouth shut and your eyes open. And if anyone points a weapon at you, drop flat. Don't freeze, don't run, drop. That's reassuring. It's realistic. Lucia's eyes are hard. You wanted to understand this world. Today you get another lesson. The drive takes 40 minutes into territory Alara doesn't recognize. Industrial parks giving way to sprawl, then to nothing. Empty fields, crumbling roads. The kind of landscape where bad things happen because there's no one around to witness them. They stop at a warehouse that makes the last one look maintained. This building is actively dying. Roof collapsed in sections, walls bowing outward, vegetation reclaiming concrete. 4 cars are already there. Armed men lean against them, smoking, checking phones. They straighten when Dario's SUV arrives. "Stay close," Lucha murmurs to Alara. "Don't touch anything." Inside, the warehouse is gutted. Just support beams and shadows and the smell of rust and decay. Sunlight streams through holes in the roof, creating patches of light that somehow make the darkness worse. 7 people kneel in the center of the space. Men and women, ranging from maybe 20 to 60, hands bound, faces bruised, eyes tracking Dario as he approaches with the focused terror of prey watching a predator. "These people," Dario says without preamble, addressing Alara directly, "worked in my distribution network, trusted positions, good pay, benefits for their families." He walks along the line slowly. 2 weeks ago, a shipment went missing, 300,000 in product. At first I thought it was Russo's people. He's been aggressive lately, but the theft was too clean, too informed. He stops behind a woman in her 40s. She's shaking. So I looked closer, started tracking who knew the routes, who had access to schedules, who had financial problems. His hand rests on the woman's shoulder. She flinches but doesn't move. "Maria here has a daughter, medical bills from a car accident last year. Insurance doesn't cover experimental treatments. So when someone offered her 50,000 to look the other way while they diverted a truck," he squeezes. Maria makes a small sound. "She took it." "Please," Maria whispers. "Please, I'll pay it back. And Carlos," Dario moves to a younger man. "Gambling problem. In deep to loan sharks. They offered to clear his debt if he provided shipping manifests." He continues down the line. Each person, each betrayal, small compromises that added up to massive loss. When he finishes, he turns back to Alara. "What would you do?" he asks. The question lands like a physical blow. "What?" "You heard their reasons. Sick children, debts, fear, all very human motivations." His eyes bore into hers. "So what's the appropriate response?" Alara's mouth goes dry. This isn't..." "Answer the question." She looks at the 7 people kneeling before her. Maria is crying silently. Carlos won't meet anyone's eyes. A teenage girl at the end is hyperventilating. "I don't know," Alara finally says. "Wrong answer." Dario pulls his gun. "The correct answer is consequences. Actions have consequences, always." "Wait." Alara steps forward without thinking. "You can't just... They had reasons." "Everyone has reasons." Dario's voice doesn't rise. Doesn't need to. "The man who killed my father had reasons. The people who burned down my uncle's restaurant with his family inside had reasons. Reasons don't absolve consequences." He aims at Maria. "Stop!" Alara grabs his arm. The metal is cold against her palm. "Just wait, please." Dario looks at her hand on his wrist. For a long moment, nothing moves. Even the kneeling people seem to hold their breath. "You're bargaining," Dario observes. "Interesting. What are you offering?" "I don't..." Alara's brain scrambles. "What do you want?" "Loyalty. Absolute, unquestioning loyalty." His free hand catches her chin, forces her to meet his eyes. "From you. Right now. Choose a side, Alara. Them or me." "That's not fair." "Life isn't fair. Choose." Alara's heart hammers against her ribs. She can feel everyone watching, waiting. Her decision in this moment will define everything that comes after. "Let them go," she hears herself say, "and I'll stop fighting you. I'll be whatever you need me to be. Publicly. The perfect wife. No more resistance." Dario's eyes narrow. "You're negotiating with nothing. I already own you. You own my presence, not my cooperation." She forces her voice steady, even though she's shaking. "You want me to represent you appropriately? To be an asset instead of a liability? Then show me you're more than just brutality. Show me there's strategy behind the violence." Silence. Then Dario lowers the gun. "Here's what's going to happen," he says, still looking at Alara. "Each of these people will repay double what they cost me. They'll work for half salary until the debt is cleared. Any family members who benefited from their theft will also contribute. If they run, if they steal again, if they so much as look at me wrong, I kill everyone they've ever loved before I kill them. Understood?" 7 heads bob frantically. "Get them out of here," Dario tells his men. Then to the traitors, "You have my wife to thank for your lives. Remember that." They're herded out quickly. Maria catches Alara's eye as she passes, mouthing something that might be "thank you" or might be "I'm sorry." When the warehouse empties, Dario turns to Alara. "That was stupid," he says flatly. "You let them go. Because your logic was sound. Dead workers can't repay debts. This way, I recoup my loss and send a message about mercy." His jaw tightens. "But don't mistake this for softness, and don't ever touch my weapon again." I know what you were trying to do. Save them. Be the hero. Feel less complicit." He steps closer. "But you are complicit now. You just negotiated for traitors, promised me your obedience in exchange for their lives. That makes you part of this." The weight of it hits her. He's right. She just made a deal with the devil, bound herself tighter to him in exchange for people she doesn't even know. "I hate you," she whispers. "I know." He holsters his gun. "But you're learning. That's what matters." Ascent. The ride back is silent except for the road noise. Alara stares out the window, watching the wasteland give way to civilization, and feels something fundamental shift inside her. She saved those people. Sort of. Maybe. The truth is messier. She made a choice that benefited Dario while salving her own conscience. Win-win. Except it doesn't feel like winning. It feels like drowning in increments. "You surprised him," Lucia says quietly from the front seat. Alara doesn't respond. "Most people either beg or freeze. You negotiated. That's—" Lucia pauses. "Smart. And dangerous." "Why dangerous?" "Because now he knows you can think tactically, that you're not just a victim. That makes you either an asset or a threat." Lucia glances back. The line between those two is very thin. At the penthouse, Alara goes straight to her room, strips off the clothes that smell like rust and fear, stands under scalding water until her skin turns red. When she emerges, there's a box on her bed. Simple black packaging, no card. She opens it with trembling fingers. Inside is a necklace. White gold, delicate chain, single diamond pendant. Expensive but not ostentatious. The kind of thing a husband might give a wife after a disagreement. She wants to throw it out the window. Instead, she puts it back in the box and shoves it in a drawer. That night, Dario summons her to dinner again. Same table, same seats, same choreography of forced domesticity. "You didn't wear the necklace," he observes. "I'm not a dog you can reward with treats." "No, you're a wife I can reward with jewelry. There's a difference." He cuts his steak with surgical precision. "The offer you made today, I'm holding you to it. Public cooperation. No more resistance at events. No more subtle defiance." "I know what I promised." "Good. Because tomorrow night we have guests. Important ones. I need you perfect." "Who are they?" "People who are considering a business arrangement. They're cautious, traditional. They want to see stability, a family man they can trust." His eyes find hers. "You're going to help me give them that impression." "What kind of business arrangement?" "The kind that will expand my territory significantly and require absolute discretion." He sets down his fork. "These people are dangerous, Alara. More dangerous than Russo. More connected than anyone I've dealt with before. If you make a mistake tomorrow night, people die. Possibly including you." The food turns to ash in her mouth. "Then why risk bringing me at all?" "Because they won't negotiate with a man they think is isolated, unstable. I need to appear settled, grounded. You provide that." He drinks his wine. "Just smile, agree with everything I say, and don't ask questions." "Can you do that?" "Do I have a choice?" "Always. The choice to cooperate or the choice to face consequences." He stands. "Get some sleep. Tomorrow will be exhausting." But sleep doesn't come. Alara lies awake, mind racing. She's in too deep now. Every day pulls her further from who she was. Every compromise erodes another piece of her old self. The woman who walked down that aisle 3 weeks ago wouldn't have negotiated for traitors, wouldn't have calculated advantage while people's lives hung in the balance. That woman is dying. What's replacing her is colder, harder, more like the people who now surround her. Is that survival or surrender? Around 2 a.m., she gives up on sleep, wanders the penthouse in darkness. Her feet carry her to the library before she consciously decides to go there. The room is dark except for city light through the windows. She runs her fingers along the book spines, reading titles by moonlight. Philosophy, history, poetry, fiction. Such human things for a monster to collect. Can't sleep either? She spins. Dario sits in the leather chair by the window, glass of whiskey in hand, watching her. I thought you were in your room, Alara says. I was. Then I wasn't. He gestures to the opposite chair. Sit, or don't. Up to you. She should leave, go back to her room, maintain distance. Instead, she sits. They're quiet for a long time. Just two people in a dark room, not quite enemies, not quite anything else. My father used to read to me in here, Dario finally says, before everything went to hell. He'd pick something random off the shelf and we'd read until I fell asleep. Didn't matter what it was, just the ritual of it. Alara doesn't know what to do with this information. It's too human, too vulnerable. It doesn't fit with the man who executed someone at their wedding. What happened to him? She asks. He was killed. I was 19. Someone decided our family had accumulated too much power, needed to be reminded of mortality. Dario's voice is flat, empty. They sent his head back in a box. The rest of him we never found. I'm sorry. Don't be. It was a long time ago. He finishes his whiskey, but that's when I learned the most important lesson. Mercy is a luxury. Compassion is a weakness people exploit. The only things that matter are power and the willingness to use it. That's a horrible way to live. It's the only way to survive. He looks at her. You think I'm cruel. Maybe I am. But I'm alive. My sister is alive. Our family is still standing. How many of our rivals can say the same? At what cost? Whatever it takes. He stands. Get some sleep, Alara. Tomorrow you'll need your strength. He leaves her alone in the library, surrounded by books full of better words than the ones they just exchanged. Morning brings Lucia with coffee and a schedule. Hair and makeup at 2. Dress fitting at 3. Final briefing at 4. Guests arrive at 7. Lucia hands her a tablet. These are the people you'll be meeting. Memorize faces, names, basic backgrounds. Don't need to be an expert, just competent. Alara scrolls through the files. Viktor Kozlov, Russian, import/export businesses that are definitely not just import/export. His wife Natasha. Their son Alexei, who looks barely 20 but has eyes like a shark. What does Dario want from them? Alara asks. Access to their Eastern European networks. In exchange, they get distribution rights to 3 of our territories. Lucia leans against the counter. It's a massive deal, life-changing if it goes through, catastrophic if it falls apart. No pressure then. Just be yourself, the version of yourself Dario needs you to be. Lucia's phone buzzes. She glances at it, frowns. I need to handle something. Don't leave the penthouse, and stay out of Dario's way. He's in a mood. She's gone before Alara can ask what kind of mood. Alara spends the morning memorizing faces. Viktor has the look of someone who's survived things that killed better men. Natasha is beautiful in the way knives are beautiful, sharp and dangerous. Alexei is an unknown variable. At 2, a team arrives to transform her. Hair twisted into something elegant and severe, makeup subtle but precise. Nails manicured to glossy perfection. The dress is midnight black. Long sleeves, high neck, hem to the floor. It reveals nothing but somehow suggests everything. Elegant, expensive, untouchable. When she looks in the mirror, she sees a stranger. No, worse. She sees exactly who Dario needs her to be. At 6, Lucia appears for final inspection. Circles Alara slowly, adjusting a fold here, a pin there. Perfect, Lucia decides. Remember, smile but not too much. Answer questions but don't volunteer information. Touch Dario's arm occasionally. Laugh at his jokes, even if they're not funny. Make them believe you're happy. I'm not an actress. You are now. Lucia's eyes are hard. Viktor Kozlov has a tell. When he's about to reject a deal, he looks at his wife. If she nods, he walks. If she doesn't, he negotiates. Your job is to make Natasha see strength and stability. Make her believe Dario is someone her husband can trust. How do I do that? By being believable. By selling the illusion that you chose this, that you love him. Lucia's voice drops. Can you do that? Elara thinks about the last 3 weeks. The blood, the violence, the slow erosion of everything she used to be. Yes, she hears herself say. I can do that. The guests arrive at 7 sharp. Viktor Kozlov is shorter than his photos suggested, but radiates the kind of presence that makes size irrelevant. He shakes Dario's hand with the grip of someone testing for weakness. Finds none. Natasha is ice in human form, beautiful, cold, assessing. Her eyes track over Elara like she's livestock. Alexei looks bored, phone in hand, barely paying attention to introductions. Welcome, Dario says warmly. Too warmly. It's jarring hearing that tone from him. Please come in. Dinner's almost ready. They settle in the dining room. The table has been set for 6. Dario at the head, Elara to his right, Viktor to his left. Natasha beside Elara. Alexei beside Viktor. Lucia at the far end. Wine is poured. Appetizers arrive. Conversation starts carefully. Weather, traffic, neutral observations about the city. Then Viktor leans back in his chair and really looks at Dario. So, he says in heavily accented English, you want access to my networks. What makes you think you can handle them? I've handled worse, Dario replies smoothly. Have you? European operations are different from American. Different rules, different expectations. Viktor's eyes slide to Elara. Different pressures. I understand pressure, Dario says. I've built my organization by adapting to pressure. And your wife? Natasha's voice is honey over razor blades. She understands too, yes? This life? All eyes turn to Elara. Her heart pounds, her palms sweat. This is the moment Lucia warned her about. I'm learning, she says carefully. It's not what I expected, but I'm learning. Expected? Natasha's eyebrow arches. You did not know what you married into. Trap. This is a trap. I knew Dario's business was complex, Elara says, choosing words like stepping through a minefield. But understanding it intellectually and experiencing it are different things. Every day I learn more. Every day I appreciate more what he's built, what we're building together. She reaches out, touches Dario's hand where it rests on the table, feels him tense fractionally before relaxing. Sweet, Natasha observes. Young love. Not so young, Dario says with a small smile. But real. Viktor grunts. Real is expensive. Real makes you vulnerable. Business and family should stay separate. They can't always, Dario counters. Not in our world. Family is the only thing we can truly trust. Everything else is negotiable. And you trust her? Viktor nods at Elara. So soon? I trust her to learn, to adapt, to become what she needs to be. Dario's hand turns over, catches Elara's. His thumb strokes across her knuckles, a gesture that looks tender but feels like a warning. She's stronger than she looks. Natasha's eyes bore into Elara. Tell me, dear, if you learned something terrible about your husband, something that endangered you, what would you do? The room goes silent. Even Alexei looks up from his phone. This is it. The test Lucia predicted. Say the wrong thing and the deal dies. Say the right thing and she sells another piece of her soul. It would depend, Elara says slowly, on whether the danger came from outside or from him. Explain. If the danger came from outside, his enemies, his competitors, then I'd stand with him. Because his enemies are now my enemies. His survival is my survival. She pauses. But if the danger came from him, if he threatened me directly, I'd make him understand that I'm not a weakness to exploit. I'm a partner, and partners don't accept being collateral damage. Silence. Then Natasha laughs, a sharp, bright sound. I like her, she says to Viktor. She has spine, not like the last one. Viktor's expression doesn't change, but something shifts in his eyes. You know about the last one. Lucia mentioned her, Elara says, which is technically true. And you married him anyway? Natasha leans forward. Knowing he discarded the first wife like trash? I married him knowing exactly what he is, Elara says, and is horrified to realize she means it. No illusions, no fantasies, just reality. Natasha looks at Victor. Victor looks back. Something passes between them. Communication in a language built over decades of marriage and mutual survival. Victor doesn't nod. Neither does Natasha. But Victor turns to Dario and says, "Let us discuss terms." Bet. The rest of dinner passes in a blur of negotiation. Numbers, territories, timelines. Alara stops trying to follow the specifics and focuses on playing her role. She smiles at appropriate moments, touches Dario's arm twice more, laughs softly at Victor's terrible jokes, becomes the perfect accessory to a perfect lie. By the time dessert arrives, the deal is basically done. Victor and Dario shake hands across the table. Natasha raises her glass in a toast. "To new partnerships," she says. "To profitable ventures," Victor adds. "To family," Dario finishes, looking directly at Alara. She raises her glass. Drinks wine that tastes like victory and ashes. The Kozlovs leave around 11. Dario walks them to the elevator, all handshakes and promises to be in touch. The moment the doors close, his entire demeanor shifts. The warmth vanishes. The smile dies. He turns to Alara with eyes like winter. "My office. Now." Her stomach drops. "What did I—" Now. She follows him to a room she's never entered before. Heavy door, no windows, walls lined with monitors showing security feeds from across the city. A desk, 2 chairs. Nothing else. Dario closes the door, locks it. "Sit." Alara sits. Her hands shake. She hides them in her lap. Dario leans against his desk, arms crossed, studying her like she's a problem to solve. "That was remarkably well done," he finally says. The relief is so intense she almost laughs. "I thought I said something wrong." "You said everything perfectly. The vulnerability, the strength, the implicit threat that you won't be passive." He tilts his head. "You played Natasha like a violin. Gave her exactly what she needed to see, someone who could survive in our world. Someone who wouldn't make me look weak." "Then why do you look angry?" "Because I can't tell if you were acting or if you actually meant it." He pushes off the desk, circles behind her chair. "When you said you know exactly what I am, no illusions, no fantasies, was that performance or truth?" Alara's heart hammers. "Does it matter?" "Yes." His hands land on her shoulders. Not hard, not gentle, just there. A reminder of proximity, of power. "Because if you were acting, you're more dangerous than I thought. And if you were telling the truth, you're adapting faster than I expected. Either way, I need to know which version of you I'm dealing with." "I don't know," Alara whispers. "I don't know anymore." His hands tighten fractionally. "Explain." 3 weeks ago, I knew who I was. I knew what I believed. Right, wrong, good, evil. Everything was clear. Then you made me watch that man die at our wedding, made me witness what you did to Marco Russo, made me choose between strangers and self-preservation. Her voice cracks. Every day I'm here, the lines get blurrier. Every choice I make, I become less of who I was and more of something else. Someone else. Someone like me. No. Someone who can survive you. Silence. Then Dario's hands drop from her shoulders. He moves to stand in front of her, forces her to look up. "Good," he says quietly. "Because the wife I need isn't someone who loves me. It's someone who understands me. Someone who can navigate this world without breaking. Someone who can make hard choices and live with them afterward." He crouches so they're eye level. "You saved 7 people today. Know why that was smart? Because it benefited you financially? Because it showed me you can think beyond emotion, that you can calculate value and leverage. That's useful, Alara. That's an asset." His hand comes up, cups her jaw. "But assets can become liabilities if they start thinking too independently. Do you understand what I'm saying?" "You're threatening me. I'm clarifying expectations. There's a difference." He stands. "You can hate me. You can resent this situation. You can lie awake at night plotting escape routes or revenge fantasies. But what you cannot do is act on those impulses, because the moment you become a problem instead of a solution, the protections you enjoy disappear, and you become expendable." The word hangs in the air like a blade. "The Kozlov deal happens because of tonight," Dario continues. "Because you convinced Natasha I'm stable, grounded. That makes you valuable. Keep being valuable, and this arrangement works. Become a liability? He doesn't finish the sentence. Doesn't need to. I understand, Alara says through numb lips. I hope so. Because tomorrow I'm taking you somewhere else, showing you another part of my world. And you're going to have to make another choice. He walks to the door, unlocks it. Get some sleep. Tomorrow's lesson is harder than today's. He leaves her alone in the office, surrounded by screens showing a city full of people who aren't trapped in a penthouse with a man who owns them. The next day dawns gray and cold. Alara wakes to Lucia's knock at 8 sharp. No coffee this time, just grim determination. Wear something you don't mind ruining, Lucia says. We leave in 30. Where are we going? You'll see. The drive takes them to the docks. Industrial. Ugly. The smell of fish and diesel and seawater. Shipping containers stacked like building blocks. Cranes looming overhead like mechanical vultures. Dario's car is already there. So are a dozen others. Men move between containers with purpose. Loading, unloading, checking inventory. This is the heart of Dario's operation. Where product moves, where money flows, where power is built on logistics and violence. Dario stands near a container that's already open. He sees them arrive, gestures them over. Inside the container, Alara sees what looks like regular merchandise. Boxes, crates, nothing unusual. Until Dario pulls one box forward, opens it. Electronics. High-end tablets still in packaging. Thousands of dollars worth. Legitimate business, Dario explains. We run plenty of legal imports, keeps authorities happy, maintains cover. He opens another box. More tablets. But every 10th container has something extra hidden inside the legitimate product. He reaches into the box. Does something Alara can't quite see. A false bottom pops up. Beneath the tablets, guns. Dozens of them. Sleek. Black. Illegal as hell. This is where the real money comes from, Dario says. Weapons. Untraceable. Sold to people who can't buy them legally, which means they pay a premium. Alara's stomach turns. You're an arms dealer. Among other things, he closes the box. The Kozlov deal expands this operation significantly. Their European networks give me access to military surplus, better weapons, bigger margins, but also bigger risks. Why are you showing me this? Because you need to understand the full scope of what you're part of. What you validated last night when you helped me seal that deal. He steps closer. You can't claim ignorance anymore, Alara. You can't pretend you don't know how this empire functions. You're complicit, knowingly, deliberately. I didn't know about the guns. Now you do. And you're still standing here, still wearing my ring, still living in my home, still accepting the protection and privileges that come from blood money. His eyes bore into hers. So make your choice right now. Walk away. I'll let you go, no consequences. Or stay, knowing exactly what you're enabling. But don't lie to yourself about innocence. That ship sailed the moment you negotiated for those traitors. The world tilts, he's right. God help her, he's absolutely right. She knew something illegal was happening, knew the money came from somewhere dark. But knowing abstractly and knowing specifically are completely different things. Guns. He sells guns to criminals. Those weapons kill people. And she just helped him expand that operation by playing loving wife to the Kozlovs. I can't, she whispers. Can't what? Can't walk away. The admission tears out of her. My family. You'll hurt them if I leave. No, Dario interrupts. I told you. You walk away right now, no consequences. I'll even help you disappear. New identity, new city, new life. Your family stays safe. Debt forgiven. Then why offer? Because I need to know if you're here by choice or coercion. Coerced loyalty breaks under pressure. Chosen loyalty, he tilts his head. That's real. This isn't a choice. It's a trap. It's the most honest choice I've ever given anyone. He steps back, gestures toward the gates. Leave. Right now. Lucia will drive you to the airport. I'll wire money to an account in your name. You'll be free. Alara looks at the open gate. Freedom is right there. New life, new identity, escape. Everything she's wanted since the wedding day. But if she leaves, what happens to those 7 people she saved? Does Dario go back and kill them anyway? If she leaves, what happens to her family? He says no consequences, but can she trust that? If she leaves, who becomes the next bride sold to cover someone's debts? And underneath all those rationalizations, a darker truth she barely wants to admit. If she leaves, she never finds out if she's strong enough to survive this world. Never learns if the cold, calculating woman she's becoming can actually win. Revenge requires proximity. Power requires patience. And walking away means admitting defeat before the real fight even starts. "I'm staying," Alara hears herself say. Dario's expression doesn't change. Why? Because running means spending the rest of my life looking over my shoulder, wondering if you'll change your mind, wondering what happened to the people I tried to save, wondering if my family is really safe. She forces herself to look at him. At least here I know the enemy. I know the rules. I know what I'm fighting. And what are you fighting for? Survival. Until I figure out what comes after that. For the first time since she met him, Dario smiles. Really smiles. It's terrifying, like watching a statue suddenly animate. "Good answer," he says. "Welcome to the family business." He closes the container, signals to his men. They begin loading the boxes onto trucks with mechanical efficiency. Alara watches money and death being packaged for distribution and feels the last pieces of her old self crumble away. That night, she doesn't sleep, doesn't cry, just sits at the window watching the city and understanding that she's past the point of no return. There's no going back to who she was, only forward into whatever she's becoming. And that woman, cold, calculating, complicit, is someone she doesn't recognize yet. But maybe that's the point. Maybe survival requires becoming unrecognizable, even to yourself. The next morning, Lucia finds her still at the window. "You look like hell," Lucia observes. "I feel like hell." "Good. Means you're processing." Lucia sets down coffee. "Dario wants to see you. His office. 10 minutes. What now?" "No idea. But he's been in a good mood since yesterday. That's usually dangerous." Alara drinks the coffee, burns her tongue, doesn't care. She arrives at Dario's office exactly 10 minutes later. He's on the phone when she enters, speaking rapid Italian that she doesn't understand. He gestures for her to sit. She sits. He finishes the call, sets the phone down, studies her. "You look terrible," he says. "Everyone keeps telling me that." "Did you sleep?" "No." "Regrets?" "Millions, but they don't change anything." "No, they don't." He opens a drawer, pulls out a small box, slides it across the desk. Not again. "I'm not wearing another necklace," Alara says flatly. "It's not a necklace." He pushes the box closer. "Open it." She does. Inside is a phone, expensive, new, already powered on. "My number is programmed," Dario explains. "So is Lucia's, and a panic button that connects directly to our security team. If you're ever in danger, if anyone ever threatens you, you use that button. Help arrives in under 3 minutes anywhere in the city." Alara stares at the phone. "Why?" "Because you're my wife. That makes you a target. And despite what you think, I don't want you dead." He leans back. "You made your choice yesterday. You stayed. That means something. It earns you protection beyond the standard security. This feels like another leash. It's a tool. How you use it is up to you." He stands, comes around the desk, sits on the edge directly in front of her. "I'm not going to pretend we're in love. I'm not going to lie about what this is, but you're part of my organization now. Knowingly, willingly. That comes with benefits. Like phone privileges. Like actual say in certain decisions. Like being consulted instead of just informed. Like..." He pauses. "Like being treated as a partner instead of property. I don't believe you." "Smart. Don't believe me. Watch my actions instead." He stands. "Kozlov called this morning. The deal is moving forward. Contracts should be signed by end of week. That's because of you, because you convinced his wife I'm stable." "You're welcome," Alara says dryly. "As a reward, you're getting what you asked for. Consultation, input. I'm planning an expansion into the Southside territory. Russo has been weak there since we hit his supply chain. I want your perspective before I move." She blinks. "You want my perspective on gang warfare?" "I want your perspective on risk assessment. You're not a criminal, Alara. You're a civilian. You see vulnerabilities I'm too embedded to notice. So tell me, if you were planning to take over enemy territory, what would worry you most? It's a test. Has to be. But he seems genuine. Blowback, she says carefully. You move into Russo's territory, you make an enemy for life. He'll spend every resource trying to retaliate. Is the territory worth a permanent war? It is if I break him so completely he can't retaliate. Can you? I'm planning to, but your point is noted. Permanent enemies are expensive. He considers. Alternative approach? Offer him a deal. Let him save face while you take what you want. Maybe he keeps nominal control, but you run the actual operations. He gets to look strong. You get the territory. No bloodbath, no martyr. Dario's eyes narrow. That's actually reasonable. You sound surprised. I am. Most people in your position just tell me what they think I want to hear. You actually analyze the problem. He pulls out his phone, makes a note. I'll consider that approach. It has merit. He dismisses her with a wave. Alara stands but pauses at the door. Dario? Yes? If I'm actually going to be consulted on things, I need to understand more, not just pieces. The whole picture. The whole picture is darker than what you've seen. I know. She meets his eyes. Show me anyway. Something shifts in his expression, evaluation becoming decision. Tomorrow, he says, tomorrow I show you everything, and after that you don't get to claim shock or horror or ignorance. You'll know exactly who I am and what we do, and you'll own that knowledge. I understand. Do you? Because once you see it all, there's no unseeing it. No distance, no moral high ground. You'll be as deep in this as I am. Good, Alara says. Maybe then I'll stop feeling like I'm drowning and start feeling like I'm swimming. She leaves before he can respond. In her room, she looks at the new phone, opens the contact list. 3 names. Dario, Lucia, emergency. That's her entire world now. 3 contacts and a panic button. She thinks about throwing it out the window. Instead, she sets an alarm for tomorrow, because tomorrow she learns everything. Tomorrow she stops being a victim and starts being a player. Tomorrow, the woman she's becoming finally gets to see if she's strong enough to survive what she's chosen. And there's no going back from whatever comes next. The alarm goes off at 6. Alara hasn't slept. Again. She stopped counting how many nights she spent staring at the ceiling, waiting for exhaustion to override the adrenaline that keeps her wired and watchful. She silences the phone, the new one Dario gave her, and forces herself upright. Her reflection in the bathroom mirror looks hollow, dark circles beneath eyes that don't quite focus, hair tangled from restless turning. She looks like someone who's been running for weeks without knowing what she's running from, or toward. The shower helps. Scalding water, mechanical routine. Dress in black again, seems to be the uniform here. Simple pants, fitted shirt, boots. Armor disguised as clothing. Lucia's already in the kitchen when Alara emerges. Coffee waiting, no pleasantries. Eat something, Lucia says, pushing a plate of toast across the counter. You'll need your strength. Where are we going? Everywhere. Dario meant it when he said you'd see everything today. Lucia's eyes are hard. Last chance to back out. Once you see what we're showing you, there's no pretending ignorance, no moral escape hatch. Alara takes the toast, forces herself to chew, swallow. I'm not backing out. Then finish that and meet us downstairs in 10. The garage holds 3 vehicles today. Dario's sedan, the usual SUV, and a nondescript van that screams undercover operation. Dario leans against the sedan, phone to his ear, speaking in clipped Italian. He sees Alara and ends the call mid-sentence. Ready? He asks. No, but I'm here anyway. Good enough. He opens the passenger door of the sedan. You ride with me today. Lucia takes the van. We're hitting 4 locations. Each one shows you a different piece of the operation. By the end, you'll understand exactly how this empire functions. Alara slides into the passenger seat. Expensive leather. The smell of his cologne. Too intimate. Too close. Dario gets behind the wheel, doesn't start the engine immediately, just looks at her. You can still walk away, he says quietly. You said that yesterday. And I meant it. This is your last exit. After today, you're in too deep. You'll know too much, become too valuable or too dangerous. His hands rest on the steering wheel. So I'm asking one more time, are you sure? Alara thinks about her father, about Mara, about the woman she used to be who believed the world was fundamentally fair. That woman died the moment a gun clicked against her temple at the altar. I'm sure, she says. Dario starts the engine. The first location is a nightclub in the downtown core. Upscale. Velvet ropes and bouncers built like tanks. Even at 7 in the morning, people are cleaning up from last night. Emptying ashtrays, mopping floors, restocking bars. Dario parks in back, uses a key to open a service entrance, leads Alara through a maze of storage rooms and hallways that smell like stale alcohol and sweat. They emerge in an office, windows overlooking the main floor below, a desk covered in ledgers and tablets, a safe in the corner. A man sits behind the desk. 50-something, balding, nervous energy radiating off him like heat. Mr. Moretti, the man says, standing too quickly. I wasn't expecting— This is my wife, Dario interrupts. Alara, this is Marcus. He manages this establishment. Marcus, show her the books. Marcus fumbles with the tablet, pulls up spreadsheets. Revenue, expenses, profit margins. Everything looks legitimate at first glance. Then Dario taps a column. Explain this. Marcus swallows hard. That's the real revenue from the secondary business, which is high-stakes poker, backrooms, invitation only. We run games 3 nights a week. House takes 20%, averages about 40,000 weekly. Illegal gambling, of course. And this column, Dario indicates another. Loan services. Players who can't cover their losses. We extend credit. Interest compounds weekly. Most pay back within a month. And those who don't? Marcus doesn't answer. Just looks at Dario with the expression of someone who knows exactly what happens but doesn't want to say it aloud. Collection teams, Dario says for Alara's benefit. Same people who visited your father. Same methods. Same results. He closes the tablet. This club generates about $2 million annually, half legitimate alcohol sales, half gambling and loan recovery. It's a proving ground. We see who can handle money, who can handle pressure, who might be useful elsewhere in the organization. Alara's stomach turns. You're recruiting criminals in a casino. I'm identifying talent in an environment that reveals character. Gambling shows you how people handle risk. Losing shows you how they handle failure. Debt shows you how far they'll go to survive. Dario moves to the window, looks down at the empty club floor. Some of my best people started here. As dealers, as security, as desperate gamblers who impressed me with how they climbed out of their holes. And the ones who don't climb out? Natural selection, Darwinism with money instead of predators. He thanks Marcus and leads Alara back to the car. They drive in silence for 10 minutes before she can form words. How many locations like that do you have? 17, clubs, restaurants, private card rooms, some high-end, some street level. Different clientele, same business model. That's millions in illegal revenue. Tens of millions, annually, and that's just gambling. He glances at her. Still want to see more? She nods. Can't speak. Her throat is too tight. The second location is a warehouse district, different from the one where he showed her the guns. This place is active, trucks coming and going, forklifts moving pallets, workers in company uniforms operating with assembly line precision. Dario parks near a loading dock. A man approaches immediately, 30-something, built like he spends serious time in a gym, eyes that track everything. Boss, the man says, nods to Alara. Ma'am, this is Steven, Dario explains. He runs logistics for our import operation. Steven, walk us through today's shipments. Steven pulls out a tablet, shows a manifest. 42 containers arrived at port this morning. 38 are clean, electronics, textiles, furniture. Those go to legitimate buyers through normal channels. 4 containers have secondary inventory. Show her. They walk into the warehouse. It's massive, ceiling 2 stories high, rows of shelving packed with boxes, pallets, crates. Everything labeled, organized, tracked. Steven leads them to a section cordoned off with yellow tape. Security cameras everywhere, guards at each corner. He opens a container. Inside are boxes marked as commercial kitchen equipment. Large, heavy, innocent looking. Until Stephen opens one. Kitchen equipment on top. False bottom beneath. And under that, pills. Thousands of them. Little blue tablets in vacuum-sealed bags. Fentanyl precursors, Dario explains calmly. Imported as industrial chemicals, processed in controlled facilities, distributed through a network of pharmacies and street dealers. We don't manufacture the final product. Too risky. We just provide the ingredients. Alara can't breathe. You're poisoning people. I'm providing a product people want. What they do with it is their choice. That's a cop-out and you know it. Her voice rises despite herself. People die from this. Overdoses, addiction, families destroyed. People die from lots of things. Alcohol, tobacco, prescription medications, all legal, all profitable, all socially acceptable. Dario's tone doesn't change. Stays flat, clinical. I don't force anyone to use. I just make sure supply meets demand. That's basic economics. That's murder. That's business. He nods to Stephen. Close it up. Ship it to processing. Stephen seals the container. It's loaded onto a truck within minutes, driven away to become poison that will flood streets, destroy lives, kill people who think they're just chasing a high, and Alara just watched it happen. Did nothing. Said nothing effective. Became complicit through silent witness. In the car, she can't stop shaking. I think I'm going to be sick, she whispers. You're not. Dario's voice is certain. You're stronger than that. You're processing. That's different. I watched you ship drugs that will kill people. You watched me ship precursors. The actual drugs are made by other people, sold by other people, used by other people. I'm 3 degrees removed from the actual harm. That doesn't make it better. It makes it legal enough to avoid prosecution. That's all that matters. He pulls into traffic. You think I'm a monster? Fine. But every dollar from that warehouse goes toward maintaining this empire, paying salaries for 300 employees, supporting their families, funding legitimate businesses that provide real jobs. The world isn't black and white, Alara. It's all gray. That's convenient philosophy for someone making millions off suffering. Yes, it is. And you're part of it now. You knew I was a criminal. You chose to stay anyway, so spare me the moral outrage. You don't get to clutch pearls with blood on your hands. The words hit like a physical blow, because he's right. She chose this, chose to stay, chose to be complicit. And now she gets to live with what that means. The third location is residential. Nice neighborhood, tree-lined streets, houses with manicured lawns and 2-car garages. The kind of place where people raise families and believe they're safe. Dario parks in front of a modest split level, blue siding, white trim, garden with roses. Whose house is this? Alara asks. Mine. Technically. I own it through a shell corporation. It's occupied by a family named Carter. Michael, Sarah, 2 kids. He doesn't get out of the car, just watches the house. Michael works for me, has for 8 years. Started as a driver, moved up to logistics coordination. Good employee, reliable, loyal. Why are we here? Passate. Because 3 days ago, Michael made a mistake. He told his wife about a shipment. Date, time, route, pillow talk, innocent, stupid. His wife mentioned it to her sister. Her sister's boyfriend is a cop. That boyfriend reported it to his supervisor. Now I have a potential investigation brewing because Michael couldn't keep his mouth shut in bed. Ice floods Alara's veins. What are you going to do? That depends. Dario finally looks at her. What do you think I should do? This is another test. This is a decision. I make it every day. People fail. People make mistakes. How I respond determines whether this organization functions on fear or loyalty. So tell me, Alara, how would you handle Michael Carter? Her mind races. He didn't mean to. Intent doesn't matter. Results do. His pillow talk could cost me millions, could get people arrested, could collapse entire networks. But his family are innocent, I know. I'm not going to hurt them. But Michael himself? He violated the most basic rule. Never talk about business. Dario's fingers drum the steering wheel. So what's proportional punishment that sends a message without destroying a family? Alara looks at the house. Through the window, she can see movement. A woman, Sarah probably, moving around the kitchen. A child runs past, laughter audible even through glass and distance. Normal life, unaware of the predator parked outside. Fire him, Alara says. Terminate employment. Make it clear why. The fear of losing income, of being cut off from your organization, that's punishment, and it warns others without bloodshed. He knows too much to just fire. He'd be a liability walking around with 8 years of operational knowledge. Then relocate him, different city. Set him up with a legitimate job far from here. He gets to keep his family intact but loses everything else. Status, network, connection to this world. That's exile. That's consequences without corpses. Dario considers this, pulls out his phone, makes a call. Marcus. Michael Carter. I want him transferred to the Phoenix operation. Legitimate work only. No operational access. Effective immediately. Move his family too. Cover relocation costs. Make it clear this is both punishment and mercy. He ends the call. Looks at Alara. Happy? Not even close. But it's better than what you were probably planning. I was planning to kill him. You're right that it's better. Exile sends the message. Talk and you lose everything you value without creating a martyr or traumatizing children. He starts the car. You're learning to think strategically. Good. You'll need that skill. They drive away from the Carter house. Alara watches it disappear in the side mirror and wonders if she just saved a life or if she's lying to herself about doing something good in service of something evil. The line keeps blurring. Every choice makes it harder to see. The fourth location is an office building, downtown. All glass and steel and corporate anonymity. Dario parks in underground parking, uses a key card to access an elevator that requires biometric scan. They ascend to the top floor. The doors open into a space that looks like any other corporate office. Cubicles, conference rooms, people in business attire typing on computers, talking on phones, drinking coffee. Except the screens Alara glimpses show things that aren't normal business. Financial transactions and cryptocurrencies. Shipping manifests. Surveillance photos. This is headquarters, Dario explains, the legitimate face of the operation. We're registered as an import-export consulting firm. We file taxes. We have HR. We contribute to employee retirement funds. Everything completely above board. Except it's not. Except the consulting we provide is how to move illegal products through legal channels. The imports we facilitate include the containers you saw earlier. The exports include money laundering through art sales and real estate transactions. He leads her through the bullpen. People look up, nod respectfully, return to work. This is where we plan, where we coordinate, where we turn street-level chaos into organized enterprise. They enter a conference room. Wall-to-wall windows overlooking the city, a table that seats 20, monitors built into the walls showing feeds from various locations. Lucia is already there. So are 4 other people Alara doesn't recognize. This is my inner circle, Dario says. You've met Lucia. That's Thomas. He runs financial operations. Rachel handles legal issues. Marcus you met at the club. He manages entertainment venues. And David coordinates our security network. They all watch Alara with expressions ranging from curiosity to suspicion. My wife wanted to understand the full operation, Dario continues. So I'm showing her. Alara, these people keep our empire functioning. They're the brains behind the muscle, the strategy behind the violence. Thomas speaks first. With respect, boss, is this wise? She's been here a month. That's not enough time to what? Trust her? She's my wife. She stays. Therefore, she needs to understand. Dario's tone brooks no argument. Brief her. Show her the numbers, the projections, the expansion plans. I want her fully informed by end of day. He leaves. Alara stands alone with 5 people who look like they'd happily throw her off the roof if given half a reason. Lucia breaks the silence. Sit. We don't have all day. What follows is 3 hours of the most terrifying education Alara's ever received. Thomas shows her spreadsheets. Revenue streams broken down by operation. Gambling generates X amount. Drug precursors generate Y. Gun running generates Z. Real estate laundering, art fraud, cryptocurrency manipulation, loan sharking, protection rackets. The numbers are staggering. Last year's gross revenue, 400 million. Net profit after expenses, payroll, bribes, and losses, 90 million. Dario personally cleared 30 million after everything filtered through various accounts and shell corporations. $30 million. From drugs and guns and gambling and blood. Rachel explains the legal protections. Shell companies, offshore accounts, lawyers on retainer, politicians on payroll, judges who owe favors, law enforcement that looks the other way because their pension funds are invested in Dario's legitimate businesses. The corruption runs so deep it's become infrastructure. Marcus details the recruitment pipeline, how they identify talent in clubs, how they test loyalty, how they promote from within, how they handle dissent. David walks her through security protocols, surveillance networks, counterintelligence, how they track threats, how they neutralize them. By the time they finish, Ilara's head spins. This isn't a gang, it's a corporation, organized, efficient, ruthless. And she's sitting in the C-suite being briefed like an executive. Questions? Lucia asks. Ilara has 1,000. Only one matters. Why are you really showing me this? Silence. The five exchange glances. Finally, Thomas answers. Because Dario thinks you might be useful, not just as window dressing, as actual strategic asset. Someone who sees things differently, who thinks outside our insular perspective. Or, Rachel adds, because he's testing whether you'll run to the authorities with what you've learned. Either you're committed or you're a threat. This forces clarification. And if I'm a threat? David smiles. It's not friendly. Then we handle it, permanently. He wouldn't let you. We wouldn't ask permission. The threat hangs in the air. Enough, Lucia snaps. She's here, she's committed. Stop trying to intimidate her. To Ilara, you need anything clarified? Any operations you don't understand? Ilara's mind churns. She's just been handed the keys to the kingdom. Every operation, every revenue stream, every vulnerability. If she wanted to destroy Dario, she now knows exactly how. Which means he either trusts her completely, or he's laid a trap she hasn't spotted yet. I understand, Ilara says carefully. More than I wanted to, less than I probably should. Lucia nods. Good answer. Come on. Dario wants you back downstairs. Dario waits in the parking garage, leaning against his car, phone in hand. He looks up when they approach. Done? He asks Lucia. Completely briefed. She knows everything now. Good. Dario opens the passenger door for Ilara. Get in. One more stop. Ilara's exhausted. Mentally, emotionally. She's absorbed more horror in 6 hours than most people encounter in a lifetime. But she gets in the car. They drive in silence for 20 minutes. Out of downtown, into older neighborhoods, then to a part of the city Ilara's never seen. Abandoned factories, empty lots, streets where even sunlight seems dirty. Dario parks in front of a building that barely stands. Boarded windows, graffiti-covered walls. The kind of place police don't patrol because there's nothing left worth protecting. Why are we here? Ilara asks. Because you need to see where I came from. Dario gets out. Come on. He leads her through a gap in the boards. Inside, the building is gutted. Stripped copper, broken glass. Evidence of squatters, mattresses, needles, trash. They climb stairs that creak ominously. Second floor. Third. Fourth. Dario stops at a door hanging crooked on its hinges, pushes it open. The apartment beyond is frozen in decay, furniture rotting, wallpaper peeling, but underneath the decay, evidence of life. A kitchen, a living room, bedrooms. I grew up here, Dario says quietly. My father, my mother, Lucia. This was home until I was 14. Ilara looks around, tries to imagine a family living here, fails. What happened? My father built his empire from nothing, started as a street dealer, worked his way up, made enemies, made money, moved us somewhere nicer when I was 12. Dario walks to a window, looks out at the wasteland below. But he never forgot where he came from. Used to bring me back here. Make me remember what we escaped, what we'd return to if we ever showed weakness. That's bleak. That's reality. You think I'm cruel? I'm restrained compared to what I witnessed growing up. You think my methods are harsh? They're measured compared to what my father did to maintain power. He turns to face her. I showed you everything today, the money, the operations, the scope. But this is the context. This is why I can't just walk away, why I can't be soft, why mercy is a calculated risk rather than a default. You're trying to justify. I'm not justifying anything. I'm explaining. There's a difference. He moves closer. You wanted to understand, to see everything. Fine. Now you have. You know how the empire functions, how much money flows, how many people depend on it, how deeply it's embedded in this city's infrastructure. And you know where it came from. Desperation, survival, the fight to never end up back in places like this. Alara's throat tightens. I still don't. You don't have to forgive. You don't have to approve. You just have to understand that every choice I make comes from this. He gestures around the ruined apartment. From knowing how fast you can fall, how permanent that fall can be. How the world doesn't care if you live or die as long as you don't disrupt comfortable people's comfort. They stand in the ruins of his childhood, and Alara feels something crack inside her. Not sympathy, not forgiveness, but recognition. Her father sold her because he was desperate, falling, terrified of losing everything. Dario built an empire because he was desperate, climbing, terrified of having nothing. Different responses to the same fear. She's not sure which is worse. See, the drive back to the penthouse is silent. Alara's brain feels stuffed with information, horror, numbers, revelations. She needs to process, to think, to figure out what she does with everything she now knows. But when they arrive, there are cars in the garage that weren't there this morning. 3 SUVs, black, idling. Men stand beside them. 6, armed, watching. Dario's entire body goes rigid. Stay in the car, he orders. What's happening? I don't know, but those aren't my people. His hand goes to his jacket, where his gun waits. Lock the doors. Don't open them unless I tell you to. He gets out slowly, hands visible, non-threatening posture but ready to move. One of the men steps forward, thick accent, Russian. Mr. Moretti, we need to talk. Mr. Kozlov sends his regards. Alara's stomach drops. The deal. The partnership. Something went wrong. I wasn't expecting a visit, Dario says carefully. If Victor wants to discuss terms, not terms, clarification. The Russian gestures. 2 of his men move toward Dario. Dario's hand shifts fractionally toward his gun. I wouldn't, the Russian says. We have men upstairs in your penthouse with your sister. She's comfortable, for now. But that comfort depends on your cooperation. Every muscle in Dario's body goes taut. If you've heard her, we haven't, yet. But Mr. Kozlov has concerns, questions about your operation, about your stability. The Russian's eyes shift to the car, to Alara. And about your wife. He wants to verify certain claims. What claims? That she's who you say she is. That your marriage is real, that you're not playing games with his trust. The Russian pulls out a phone, shows Dario something on the screen. From inside the car, Alara can't see what it is. But she sees Dario's face change, sees color drain, sees something that might be fear flicker across features that never show fear. Where did you get that? Dario's voice is deadly quiet. Does it matter? What matters is Mr. Kozlov now questions everything you told him, everything your wife confirmed. He wants answers, real ones, no performance, no script. Fine, I'll talk to Victor, name the time and place. Now, here. But not you. The Russian gestures to the car. Her. Absolutely not. Not negotiable. Mr. Kozlov wants to speak with your wife, alone. She comes with us. You stay here. She answers questions. If answers satisfy, she comes back. Everyone happy. If answers don't satisfy. The Russian smiles. Well, Mr. Kozlov has many ways to express dissatisfaction. Dario's hand moves toward his gun again. 4 weapons immediately point at him. Don't be stupid, the Russian says. We have your sister. We have 6 men to your 1. You draw, we shoot, she dies, you die. Wife still comes with us anyway. Everyone loses. Be smart. Let her come. She answers questions. Probably everything fine. Probably she comes home tonight. Probably. The word hangs like a noose. Dario's eyes find Alara through the car window. For the first time since she met him, she sees genuine fear there. Not for himself. For her. He lowers his hand, steps back. Alara, he says through the glass, open the door. Her hand shakes so badly she can barely grip the handle. But she opens the door, steps out. The Russians surround her immediately. Not touching, not rough, just present. Inescapable. This is unnecessary, Dario says, voice strained. Whatever Victor thinks he knows, then she'll clarify. Easy. The Russian nods to his men. They guide Alara toward one of the SUVs. We'll be in touch, soon. Alara! Dario starts forward. 3 guns redirect toward him. He stops. Alara is pushed into the back of an SUV. 2 men bracket her. Doors close. Locks engage. Through the window, she sees Dario standing frozen, watching her disappear. The last thing she sees before they pull away is his expression. Fury and fear and something that might be regret. Then they're moving. Out of the garage. Into traffic. Away from the penthouse. Away from the only safety she's known in this horrible new world. One of the Russians turns to look at her. You're going to tell Mr. Kozlov the truth, he says, all of it, and then we'll see if you survive the consequences. The SUV accelerates, and Alara realizes she's about to discover what happens when you become a liability instead of an asset. But they drive for 40 minutes, out of the city, into industrial wasteland, then to a compound surrounded by high walls and guards. The SUV stops inside a warehouse. The door opens. Rough hands pull Alara out. She stumbles, catches herself, forces her spine straight even though every instinct screams to curl into protective ball. They walk her through the warehouse, past shipping containers, past men cleaning guns, past evidence of operations that mirror Dario's empire. A door, a hallway, another door. The room beyond is sparse. Table, chairs, single light hanging overhead. And Victor Kozlov. He sits at the table, Natasha beside him, both watching Alara with expressions carved from ice. Sit, Victor commands. Alara sits. The chair is metal, cold, uncomfortable. Victor slides a photograph across the table. Alara's breath catches. The photo shows her. 3 months ago, before the wedding, before everything. She's laughing, standing beside a man, his arm around her shoulders, her hand on his chest. The man is not Dario. The man is James, her ex-boyfriend, the one she dated for 2 years before her father's debts exploded and destroyed everything. This man, Victor says softly. Who is he? Alara's mind races. A friend? Someone I knew before? A friend? Or a lover? Victor taps the photo. You look very comfortable with this friend. We dated, briefly, years ago. It ended before I met Dario. Liar. Natasha's voice cracks like a whip. We investigated. This photo is from 3 months ago. Your wedding was 5 weeks ago, which means you were with this man while your husband was negotiating our deal. No, it's not. The photo is old. The metadata says otherwise. Victor produces a tablet. Shows her technical details she doesn't understand but look damning. 3 months, which means your marriage to Dario Moretti is even younger than we thought, which means it's likely exactly what we suspected. Performance, strategy, lie. It's not a lie. Then explain this. Another photo. This one shows James outside her father's house. Recent. She can see her father's car in the background. The same car he bought last month with money that definitely came from somewhere questionable. I don't know why he's there. Your father still owes Dario money, $600,000 remaining on the original debt. Victor leans forward. If you're still seeing this man, if this marriage is fake, if Dario is unstable enough to marry someone who's actively deceiving him, then he's not someone we can trust with our networks. I'm not deceiving him. Prove it. Natasha stands, circles behind Alara's chair. Call this man, right now. Tell him you want to see him. We'll record the conversation. If he believes you're available, if he thinks the marriage means nothing, then we know the truth. I haven't spoken to James in months. Then he'll be surprised to hear from you, excited even. Or Natasha leans close, breath hot against Alara's ear. Or he'll expect your call, because you've been in contact all along, because the marriage is cover, because Dario is desperate and sloppy and not someone we can partner with. Victor slides a phone across the table. Call him, now. Alara stares at the phone. Her heart hammers so hard her vision pulses. This is a trap. Has to be. But what if James actually is at her father's house? What if he's been trying to contact her? What if he says something that confirms their suspicions? Or what if this is all fabricated, photos doctored, metadata forged, a test to see how she reacts under pressure? I won't, Alara says. Won't? Or can't? Victor's eyes narrow. Won't. Because this is manipulation. You're trying to create conflict where none exists. Dario and I... Her voice cracks. Our marriage is complicated, but it's real. And I'm not calling my ex-boyfriend to prove anything to you. Silence. Victor and Natasha exchange glances. Then Victor stands, walks to the door, opens it. Two men drag someone into the room. Alara's heart stops. It's Lucia, bruised, bloodied, hands bound, but alive, conscious, furious. You have 5 seconds, Victor says calmly, to make that call. Or I hurt Dario's sister in ways that leave permanent damage. Your choice. Lucia's eyes find Alara's. Don't! Lucia spits blood. Don't you fucking dare! One of the men hits her, hard enough to snap her head sideways. 4 seconds, Victor says. Alara's hand trembles toward the phone. I swear to God, Lucia starts. Another hit, this one to her ribs. Lucia makes a sound that's half scream, half gasp. 3 seconds. Alara picks up the phone. Her fingers shake so badly she can barely dial, but she knows the number, memorized it 2 years ago. Never forgot it despite trying. The phone rings, once, twice, 3 times. Then James's voice, familiar, warm, everything that feels like safety in a world gone mad. Hello? Alara opens her mouth. No words come. Hello? Who is this? Victor leans close to the phone, listening. James? Alara whispers. It's me. Silence on the other end. Then, Alara? Oh my God! Alara, are you okay? I've been trying to reach you for weeks. The room spins. He's been trying to reach her, which means the photos might be real. Which means... Your father said you got married, James continues, voice tight with emotion. Some businessman said you were happy. But I can't believe you just disappear without... I had to, Alara interrupts. Aware of Victor listening, of Natasha watching, of Lucia bleeding in the corner. It was complicated, family stuff. I couldn't... Are you in trouble? Where are you? I can come get you. No, I'm fine. I wanted to hear your voice, to know you're okay. I'm not okay. I miss you. Every day. I don't understand what happened. We were talking about moving in together, and then suddenly your father says you're engaged and I can't reach you, and James's voice cracks. Just tell me you're happy. That's all I need. Just tell me you chose this. The question hangs in the air. Victor's eyes bore into hers. Lucia glares at her with something between fury and pleading. And Alara understands the trap fully now. If she tells James she's happy, Victor won't believe her because James clearly still loves her. If she tells James the truth, Victor has proof the marriage is fake. Either way, she condemns Dario, condemns herself, condemns everyone. I have to go, she whispers. Wait, Alara. She ends the call, slides the phone back across the table. Victor picks it up, replays the recording, listens with expression carved from stone. When it finishes, he looks at Alara. Your husband, Victor says slowly, is either a fool or a liar. Either he married a woman who's still in love with someone else, which makes him stupid, or he married you knowing this was fake, which makes him deceptive. Either way, he's not someone we can trust. The deal is off, Natasha announces. We don't partner with unstable operations. No, wait. Alara stands. You don't understand. We understand perfectly. Victor gestures to his men. Take them both. Dario gets a message. His wife and his sister. He has 24 hours to explain why we shouldn't kill them both and declare war. and why we should believe any explanation he provides. The men grab Alara, grab Lucia, drag them from the room, down different hallways. Alara screams Lucia's name, hears Lucia screaming hers. Then a door slams and there's only silence. Alara is thrown into a small room, concrete floor, single cot, bucket in the corner, one light recessed into ceiling behind protective grate. A cell. She's in a cell. The door locks with mechanical finality, and Alara collapses against the wall, sliding down until she's sitting on cold concrete and understands fully what she's done. She destroyed the Kozlov deal, put Lucia in danger, gave Victor ammunition to use against Dario, became exactly what David warned about, a liability. And tomorrow Dario will have to choose. Save her and lose everything, or sacrifice her and survive. She knows which choice makes strategic sense, knows what she'd advise if she were in his position, knows that the woman she's become, cold, calculating, complicit, would make the same decision he's about to make. Cut losses, eliminate liabilities, survive. The light in the cell flickers, and Alara sits in this darkness of her own making, waiting to discover if the monster she married has any humanity left, or if she's finally learned what it means to be truly expendable. The concrete is cold enough to leach heat through Alara's clothes, through her skin, straight into bone. She doesn't know how long she's been sitting here, hours maybe. The light overhead doesn't change, no windows, no way to track time except the slow accumulation of numbness in her legs and the thirst building in her throat. She's gone over the phone call 100 times, every word, every inflection, trying to figure out what she could have said differently, how she could have salvaged it. The answer is always the same. She couldn't. The trap was perfect. Victor designed it to have no escape route. Either she proved the marriage was fake, or she proved Dario was careless. Either way, the deal died. And now she's leverage. A bargaining chip, a problem to be solved. The door opens. Alara scrambles to her feet, ignoring the pins and needles shooting through her calves, tries to look stronger than she feels. A guard enters, different from the Russians who brought her here. This one is younger, nervous energy. He carries a bottle of water and a wrapped sandwich. Eat, he says in accented English, sets them on the cot. Drink. Boss says you stay healthy until he decides what to do with you. Where's Lucia? Dario's sister. Is she alive? Separate cell. No talking. He backs toward the door. Wait, please. Just tell me what's happening. How long have I been here? What is Victor? No talking. He leaves. Door locks. Alara stares at the water bottle like it might be poisoned, but her throat is sandpaper, and she's smarter than that. If they wanted her dead, she'd be dead already. She drinks half the bottle in desperate gulps. The sandwich is generic turkey and cheese, but she forces herself to eat it. Needs strength. Needs to think. Needs to survive whatever comes next. She's finishing the last bite when she hears it. Distant. Muffled by walls and doors. Gunfire. Her heart stops. Then starts again, hammering so hard she feels it in her teeth. More shots. Closer now. Automatic weapons. The sharp crack of pistols. Shouting in Russian and English. The lights flicker. Go out completely. Emergency lighting kicks in. Dim red glow that makes everything look like it's drowning in blood. Alara backs against the far wall. Tries to make herself small, invisible. Her hands shake so badly she has to clench them into fists. More gunfire, right outside now, screaming. A body hits something heavy and metallic with a sound that makes her stomach turn. Then silence. Worse than the noise. Silence that stretches and stretches until she can't breathe through the tension. The door explodes inward. Not unlocked, not opened. Exploded, the lock blasted apart, hinges torn, the entire thing hanging crooked. Dario steps through the wreckage. He's covered in blood. Not all his, probably not mostly his, but enough to paint him in violence. Gun in one hand, knife in the other, eyes wild with something between fury and fear. He sees her. For 1 second, everything stops. Then he's moving, crossing the cell in 3 strides, hands on her face, checking for injuries with touch that's almost gentle despite the blood. Are you hurt? His voice is ragged, desperate. Did they? I'm fine. I'm okay. Her hands come up, grab his wrists. Grounding or being grounded, she's not sure. Dario, what did you... What I had to. He releases her face, grabs her hand instead. We need to move. Now. This place is a war zone and we're not staying to see who wins. He pulls her toward the door. The hallway beyond is carnage. Bodies. So many bodies. Russian guards torn apart by bullets. Blood on walls, floor, ceiling, shell casings everywhere. The smell of gunpowder and copper, and something worse. Alara's stomach heaves, but she swallows it down, forces her feet to move. Dario's hand is iron around hers, pulling her forward through the nightmare. Where's Lucia? Alara gasps. Already out. David got her 10 minutes ago. You were deeper in, took longer to reach. He stops at a corner, checks both directions, gestures her forward. Stay behind me. Stay low. Do not stop moving no matter what you see. They run. Past more bodies. Past a room where someone is screaming in Russian. Past an open door showing security monitors, most screens black, some showing firefights still raging in other parts of the compound. They burst through an exit into a loading bay. 2 SUVs idle nearby. Engines running. Doors open. David behind the wheel of the first one, weapon out the window, providing cover fire. Lucia in the passenger seat, blood streaming from a cut above her eye, her own gun tracking targets. Move! Dario shouts. They sprint for the vehicles. Bullets snap past. Too close. One close enough Alara feels the air displacement against her neck. Dario returns fire without slowing, his aim somehow perfect despite the chaos. They reach the SUV. Dario literally throws Alara into the back seat, follows her in, slams the door. Go! He roars. David accelerates before the door fully closes. Tires scream. The SUV fishtails, finds traction, rockets toward the exit. Behind them, the compound erupts. Not metaphorically, actually erupts. Explosions chain through buildings, planted charges detonating in sequence. Fireballs punch through roofs, walls collapse. The entire structure begins eating itself in flame and destruction. Jesus Christ, Lucia breathes, watching through the back window. You really burned it all. They took my sister. They took my wife. Dario's voice is flat, empty. The tone of someone past rage into something colder. I burned their entire operation to ash. Every warehouse, every safe house, every asset within 50 miles. Victor wants war. He gets scorched earth. The second SUV follows close behind. Alara glimpses faces through the windows. Men from Dario's inner circle. Thomas. Marcus. Others she recognizes from the briefing. They drive hard for 20 minutes, fast enough that traffic laws become suggestions. Dario makes calls on his phone, snapping orders in Italian and English, coordinating something, mobilizing. Finally, they slow, pull into an underground garage Alara doesn't recognize. Different building, different part of the city. When the engines cut, the silence is deafening. Lucia is first out. She leans against the SUV, breathing hard, wiping blood from her face with the back of her hand. That was insane, she says to Dario. Even for you, Victor's going to retaliate hard. Let him try. Dario helps Alara out of the vehicle. His hands are steadier now, but still covered in blood. He violated every rule. Took my family. Threatened my wife. He gets what he gets. The deal is dead. Was dead the moment he grabbed you both. I don't negotiate with people who take hostages. He turns to David. Status? Perimeter secure. Buildings empty except for our people. We've got eyes on all approaches. If Victor's people try to follow, we'll see them coming. David reloads his weapon with mechanical precision. But boss, we need to talk strategy. What you did tonight, that's a declaration. Open war. We need to be ready for everything they can throw at us. I am ready. Let them come. Dario. Thomas emerges from the second SUV, tablet in hand, expression grim. We need to discuss the financial implications. The warehouses you destroyed, 3 of them were ours. The operations we sabotaged to frame Victor, those cost us directly. We're looking at losses in the millions just from tonight's action. Money can be replaced. Not easily, and not while fighting a war on multiple fronts. Russo's going to see this chaos and make moves. The other families will see weakness. We might have saved Lucia and Alara, but but we've destabilized everything. Thomas's voice drops. We need to think strategically here. Figure out if we can still salvage something from this disaster. The disaster, Dario says with dangerous quiet, is that Victor thought he could touch what's mine and walk away. The rest is just consequences. He walks toward an elevator. Everyone follows. The building is corporate. Offices, probably. Commandeered for this emergency. They ride up in silence thick enough to choke on. The top floor has been converted into a command center. Computers, monitors, maps of the city with marked locations, a war room. Lucia drops into a chair. Someone hands her a first aid kit. She starts cleaning her wounds with the casual efficiency of someone who's done this before. Alara stands near the window, hugging herself, trying to process the last hour. The cell, the explosion, the bodies. Dario covered in blood, pulling her through hell to safety. He saved her, destroyed his own operations to save her, burned bridges with powerful allies to save her. Why? Alara. She turns. Dario stands close enough to touch, but doesn't. Just watches her with eyes that have gone flat again. Dangerous calm after the storm. Tell me exactly what happened, he says. Every word, every detail. I need to know what Victor thinks he knows. So she tells him. The photos, the accusations, the phone call, James's voice saying he missed her, Victor's conclusions about the marriage being fake. With every sentence, Dario's expression hardens. When she finishes, silence. Then Dario turns to Thomas. The photos. Can they be real? Possible. We didn't do deep surveillance on her past relationships. Seemed unnecessary at the time. Thomas pulls up files on his tablet. James Morrison. Dated Alara for 2 years. Breakup coincided with her father's debt spiral. No contact since according to our initial background check, but if he's been trying to reach her, we wouldn't know unless we were actively monitoring. Dario's jaw clenches. Find him. I want to know where he is, who he's been talking to, if someone's using him to undermine us. On it. Thomas starts typing. Lucia looks up from bandaging her arm. You think this was set up? Someone fed Victor those photos deliberately? I think it's too convenient, too perfectly timed. Victor was ready to sign the deal. Then suddenly he has proof the marriage is fake? Someone wanted that deal dead. Dario starts pacing, predator in a cage. Question is who benefits from me and Victor being at war? Russo. David doesn't hesitate. He's been losing territory. A war between you and the Russians? He scoops up the pieces while you're both bleeding. Or the Italians from New York, Marcus suggests. They've wanted into this territory for years. 2 major operations destroying each other opens the door. Or it's simpler than that. Lucia's voice cuts through the speculation. Maybe James really has been trying to contact Alara. Maybe he really did go to her father's house. Maybe her father, desperate and stupid as he is, said something he shouldn't have. And maybe someone was listening. All eyes turn to Alara. My father wouldn't, she starts. Your father sold you to clear his debts, Lucia interrupts. You think loyalty is his strong suit? The words hit like a slap, because Lucia's right. Her father is weak, desperate. Exactly the kind of person who'd talk too much to the wrong people if he thought it might help him. Find the father too, Dario orders. Bring him here, carefully. I want to know what he's been saying and to who. Dario, no, please! Alara steps forward. He doesn't know anything useful. He's a liability. Has been from the start. Dario finally looks at her, really looks. You almost died tonight because Victor questioned your loyalty, because he had evidence suggesting our marriage is performance. I need to know where that evidence came from and whether it's going to keep coming. So you're going to interrogate my father? I'm going to ask him questions. What happens after that depends on his answers. You can't. I can. I will. He's part of this whether you like it or not. Dario moves closer, lowers his voice so only she can hear. I just burned half my empire to get you out of that cell. Killed 24 men. Made an enemy of one of the most dangerous organizations on the East Coast. I did that because you're my wife and nobody touches what's mine. But don't mistake that for unconditional protection. If your father is leaking information that puts us at risk, he gets dealt with. That's not negotiable. Alara's hands curl into fists. Then I want to be there. When you question him, I want to hear his answers. No. Yes. He's my father. I deserve to know if he betrayed me. You deserve to be kept safe. That means staying here while I clean up this mess. I'm not staying anywhere. Alara's voice rises. You showed me everything, remember? The operations, the money, the truth. You said I was part of this now, so treat me like a partner instead of a prisoner. Silence falls across the room. Everyone watches, waiting to see how Dario responds to being challenged. His eyes narrow. You want to be a partner? Fine. But partners follow orders in combat situations, and right now we're in combat. So when I tell you to stay somewhere safe, you stay. Understood? Understood. As long as you understand that safe is relative, and I'm not hiding while you risk everything. Alara steps closer, drops her voice. You saved me tonight. Thank you, really. But I watched you walk through blood to reach me. I watched you burn your own assets. I watched you choose me over strategy. So don't tell me I don't get a say in what happens next. I'm in this, completely. And that means being part of the solutions, not just the problems. For a long moment, they stand nearly nose to nose. Battle of wills, test of boundaries. Then Dario's mouth quirks. Not quite a smile. Something harder. Fine. You want in? You're in, but you follow my lead. You do what I say when I say it, and if I tell you to run, you run. Deal? Deal. He turns back to the room. Thomas, status on James Morrison? Found him, still at his apartment downtown. No unusual activity. Want me to bring him in? Not yet. Put surveillance on him. I want to know if anyone else is watching him. If he's bait or just collateral. Dario pulls up a map on one of the monitors. Victor's going to regroup. He'll hit us somewhere he thinks we're weak. Marcus, how's security at the clubs? Reinforced after tonight. Extra men. Panic buttons. But boss, the clubs are civilian spaces. If Victor attacks there, he won't care about civilians. He'll want maximum impact. Fear. Headlines. Proof he's not to be trifled with. Dario's finger traces routes on the map. David, pull everyone back from the outer territories. Consolidate. I want our people in defendable positions. Victor wants a war. We fight on ground we choose. Orders fly. People scatter to execute them. The command center becomes organized chaos. Phones ringing, keyboards clicking, voices overlapping in multiple languages. Alara sinks into a chair near the window. Her adrenaline is crashing, exhaustion creeping in. She's been awake for how long? She's lost count. Everything blurs together. The cell, the explosion, the escape. Dario covered in blood. The image won't leave her mind. He killed for her tonight. Lots of people. Didn't hesitate, didn't calculate cost. Just moved with absolute purpose. Save Alara, save Lucia, burn everything else. She spent weeks watching him be cold, calculating, strategic. Tonight, he was none of those things. Tonight, he was something else entirely. Here. Lucia appears beside her, hands her a bottle of water and 2 pills. What are these? Alara asks. Painkillers. You're going to crash hard in about an hour. These'll take the edge off. Lucia sits in the next chair, winces as she settles. Hell of a night. Are you okay? Your head... I've had worse. This is nothing. Lucia touches the bandage above her eye. They were amateurs, tried to scare me with threats, didn't understand who they were dealing with. I'm sorry. This is my fault. The phone call wasn't your fault, was a trap. Victor's good at traps. Lucia looks at her. But you need to understand something. What Dario did tonight, that's not normal. Even for him. Even in our world. He went nuclear, broke alliances, sacrificed assets, started a war that's going to cost millions and probably dozens of lives. I know, I was there. No, you don't know. Not really. Lucia leans forward. Dario's first wife? The one who broke? He let her family get threatened once, let them think they were in danger to test her loyalty. She failed. He divorced her, moved on, didn't burn anything, didn't start wars, just cut losses and continued. Alara's chest tightens. What are you saying? I'm saying you're different, somehow. You got under his skin in a way nobody else has, and that's either going to save him or destroy him. Lucia stands. Just be worth it. Whatever happens next, be worth what he's sacrificing. She walks away before Alara can respond. The pills sit in Alara's palm. She dry swallows them, closes her eyes, tries not to think about being worth anything to anyone, tries not to think about Dario's hands on her face in that cell, tries not to think about what it means that he chose her over everything else. Fails on all counts. 2 hours later, they bring in her father. Alara watches through one-way glass as he's escorted into an interrogation room. He looks terrible, unshaven, red-eyed, shaking hands that can't quite settle. Dario enters the room alone. Her father sees him and flinches. "Mr. Voss." Dario's voice is polite, conversational, terrifying in its normalcy. "Thank you for coming. I didn't have a choice." Her father's voice cracks. "Your men said it was urgent, said Alara was in trouble. She was. She's safe now. But we need to discuss how she got into trouble in the first place." Dario sits across from him, folds his hands on the table. "You've had visitors recently. A young man, James Morrison. He came to your house." Her father pales. How did you... "I know everything that happens in this city. What I don't know is what you told him." "Nothing. I swear I told him Alara was married, that she was happy, that he should move on." "Did you mention me by name?" Hesitation. Fatal hesitation. "Answer the question," Dario says quietly. Yes. He asked who she married. I told him. Your name. Your business. I thought it would make him back off if he knew. If he knew she married someone dangerous, someone powerful, someone not to be crossed." Dario's tone doesn't change. "And did he back off?" "He got upset, started asking questions about how we met, about the wedding. I told him it was none of his business." "But you'd already said enough, given him enough to get curious, to ask around. And who was he asking, Mr. Voss? Who was listening to those questions?" "I don't know. I swear I don't know." "Think harder. There was a man at the bar where James found me the second time. He was sitting nearby, drinking, not paying attention, I thought. But after James left, this man bought me a drink, started chatting, asked about my daughter, about her marriage. Describe him." Her father does. The description matches one of Victor's lieutenants. Through the glass, Alara's hands clench. Her father. Her stupid, desperate, careless father gave Victor exactly what he needed, not intentionally, not maliciously, just through weakness and alcohol and loose lips. "Did this man give you anything?" Dario asks. "Money? Promises? Threats?" "No, nothing. He just talked, seemed friendly, sympathetic about my situation." "And you told him what?" "Everything." Her father's voice breaks. "I was drunk, lonely. He kept buying drinks, kept asking friendly questions, and I told him about the debt, about the wedding, about how I had to sell my daughter to a criminal to save my own skin. I'm not proud of it, but I was drowning, and he seemed like he understood." Dario stands abruptly. Her father flinches back. "You've been used," Dario says flatly, "deliberately, professionally. Someone wanted information about my marriage, and you handed it to them, wrapped in drunken confession. That information nearly got your daughter killed tonight. Did get my sister tortured. Did start a war that's going to consume this city for months. I didn't mean intent is irrelevant. Consequences are everything." Dario walks to the door, pauses. "Your debt is paid. Your daughter fulfilled the contract, but you're cut off. No contact with Alara. No contact with your other daughter. No presence in their lives. You leak information, accidentally or otherwise, and I can't trust you. People I can't trust disappear, permanently. Understood?" Her father nods frantically. Dario leaves. Through the glass, Alara watches her father collapse forward onto the table. Shoulders shaking, crying or hyperventilating, she can't tell. She feels nothing. Should feel something. Anger, pity, grief. Feels nothing at all. The woman who loved her father despite his weakness died somewhere in that cell. Or maybe in the escape. Or maybe weeks ago during the first execution she witnessed. Doesn't matter when. Just matters that she's gone. Dario appears beside her. "You heard?" "All of it." "I meant what I said. He's cut off. For his safety and yours." "I understand." Her voice sounds hollow, distant. "He's a liability. You eliminate liabilities. I exile them when they're family. That's the best I can offer. It's more mercy than he deserves. Alara turns from the window. What now? Now we wait. Victor's going to respond. Question is when and where. Dario checks his phone. Thomas found something interesting. James Morrison's apartment has 3 separate surveillance teams watching it. Russians, Russo's people, and a team we can't identify. Everyone's watching everyone. Welcome to the game. Dario pockets his phone. Get some rest. We've got a few hours before the next move. I'm not tired. You're dead on your feet. Don't lie to me about your condition. Fine. I'm exhausted, terrified, confused, and completely wired on adrenaline that won't let me shut down. She meets his eyes. Better? Honest. I'll take it. He gestures toward a door. There's a room set up. Bed, bathroom. Not the penthouse, but it's secure. Try to sleep. I'll wake you if anything changes. Alara wants to argue, wants to insist on staying in the command center, being part of every decision, but her body is screaming for rest. She nods, follows him to the room. It's sparse. Corporate. Sofa that converts to a bed. Small attached bathroom. No windows. A safe room. A cage with better furniture. Dario lingers in the doorway. What you said earlier about being worth it. Lucia told you that? Yes. She's not wrong. What I did tonight will have repercussions for years. Financially, politically, personally. He's quiet for a moment. I need to know if you understand that. If you understand what you represent now. I represent your biggest vulnerability. Your weakness that enemies can exploit. No. He steps into the room, closes the distance between them. You represent the first thing in 10 years I've prioritized over strategy. The first choice I've made with my heart instead of my head. That makes you dangerous in ways that have nothing to do with Victor or Russo or anyone else. I don't understand. You don't have to. Not yet. His hand comes up, cups her face, thumb brushing her cheekbone. Just survive. Keep being stronger than you look. Keep pushing back when I'm wrong. Keep being worth saving. Then he's gone. Door closing. Lock engaging. Alara stands alone in the safe room and touches her face where his hand was. Her cheek is wet. She's crying. Didn't even notice when it started. She collapses onto the sofa bed and lets exhaustion take her under. She wakes to explosions. Not close, but close enough. The building shakes. Alarms scream. Emergency lighting kicks on. Alara's on her feet before she's fully conscious, heart hammering, training from earlier kicking in. She runs to the door, locked from outside. Dario! She pounds on it. Lucia, someone! The door flies open. One of Dario's men, Marcus, gun drawn. Come on, we're evacuating. Building's compromised. What happened? Victor hit 3 of our locations simultaneously. This is one of them. Move. They run. The building is chaos. People shouting, smoke filtering through vents. The distant sound of more explosions, gunfire from somewhere below. Marcus pulls her toward a stairwell. They descend. 2 floors, 3, 4. Burst into the parking garage, SUVs waiting. Engines running, people piling in. Alara sees Lucia in one vehicle, Thomas in another, David coordinating from the center. No Dario. Where is he? Alara grabs Marcus's arm. Where's Dario? Holding the line. Buying us time to evacuate. Bullshit. Take me to him, now. I have orders. I don't care about your orders. She yanks free. Which way? Marcus hesitates, then points. 3rd floor, east side, but it's a war zone up there. Alara runs before he can finish. Back into the stairwell. Up instead of down. Against traffic. People streaming past her, heading for safety. She's going toward the gunfire. 3rd floor, east side. She bursts through the stairwell door into a hallway that's been torn apart. Bullet holes in walls, bodies on the floor, shell casings everywhere. And at the far end, Dario. He's behind an overturned desk, gun in each hand, trading fire with enemies Alara can't see from her angle. His shoulders bleeding, his face is a mask of concentration and fury. Dario! She screams. He turns, sees her. His expression goes from focus to horror. Get out! He roars. What the fuck are you? The window behind him explodes. Not gunfire. Something bigger. A breaching charge. The blast throws Dario forward. He hits the ground hard. Doesn't get up. Men pour through the shattered window. Russians. 3 of them. Weapons raised. Alara doesn't think. Just moves. She grabs a gun from a fallen guard. It's heavy. Wrong. She's never fired a weapon in her life. She pulls the trigger anyway. The recoil nearly breaks her wrist. The shot goes wide. Hits nothing. But it makes the Russians pause. Turn toward her. That second of distraction costs them. Dario rolls, fires from the ground. 2 shots. 2 bodies drop. The third Russian dives for cover, returns fire. Alara hits the ground. Bullets punch through drywall where she was standing. Dario's moving again. Injured but functional. He closes the distance. Hand to hand, brutal, efficient. The Russian goes down hard, stays down. Then silence, except for the alarms and distant firefights. Dario turns to Alara. "I told you to evacuate," he says through gritted teeth. "And I told you I'm not hiding." She stands on shaking legs, still holding the gun. "You're hurt. Flesh wound. I'll live." He staggers slightly, catches himself. "We need to move. More coming." He's right. She can hear them, boots on stairs, voices coordinating. Dario grabs her hand. They run. Different route. Back stairs, service corridors. The building is a maze, but he navigates without hesitation. They emerge in the parking garage just as the last SUV is pulling out. "Wait!" Dario shouts. The vehicle stops. Door opens. Lucia inside. "Get in!" she screams. They pile in. Door slams. The SUV accelerates. Behind them, the building erupts in flames. Real flames this time. The entire structure becoming an inferno. "Victor's burning everything we have," Thomas says from the driver's seat. His face is grim. 5 locations hit simultaneously. The clubs, 2 warehouses, this building. He's escalating faster than we projected. Then we escalate back. Dario's breathing hard, blood soaking through his shirt. Where are we regrouping? The docks. It's the most defensible position we have left. Take us there. The drive is tense. Everyone checking phones, coordinating with teams across the city, assessing damage, counting casualties. The numbers are bad. 14 dead, another 20 injured, millions in property damage, operations disrupted, territory vulnerable, all in 3 hours. Alara sits pressed against the door, still clutching the gun she fired, watching Dario hold his bleeding shoulder and bark orders like the injury is irrelevant. He almost died. Would have died if she hadn't. The thought doesn't complete. She can't process what she did, can't think about pulling that trigger, about trying to kill someone, about how easy it was to make that choice when Dario's life was the alternative. They reach the docks as dawn breaks, gray light washing over industrial decay, shipping containers stacked like fortifications. Dario's people already there, 50, maybe 60 of them, armed, angry, ready. Dario gets out of the SUV, winces but doesn't show weakness otherwise. "Listen up," his voice cuts through the morning. "Viktor Kozlov wants a war. He's hitting us hard, trying to break us fast, make us fold, scatter, give up." He looks at each person. "That's not happening. We hold here, we fortify. We show him that you don't attack him already and walk away. You don't threaten my family and live to brag about it." Murmurs of agreement, weapons being checked. "Thomas, coordinate defenses. I want overlapping fields of fire. No blind spots. Marcus, get everyone fed. We're going to be here a while. Lucia, medical. Anyone injured gets treated now while we have time." Dario turns. "David?" He staggers, catches himself on a container. His shoulder is bleeding worse, the adrenaline wearing off, blood loss catching up. "Boss?" David starts forward. "I'm fine, just need—" Dario's knees buckle. Alara catches him before he hits the ground. He's heavier than he looks, solid muscle and dead weight. She goes down with him but breaks his fall. "Medic!" Lucia screams. "Now!" People swarm, hands lifting Dario, carrying him toward a container that's been converted into makeshift medical station. Alara follows. No one stops her. Inside, they lay him on a table, cut away his shirt. The wound is worse than it looked, Bullet grazed his shoulder, but there's shrapnel embedded. Glass from the window explosion. The medic starts working, extracting fragments, cleaning, suturing. Dario's conscious through all of it, jaw clenched, eyes fixed on the ceiling, not making a sound. Alara stands near his head. She doesn't know why, doesn't know what she's doing, just knows she needs to be close. His hand finds hers, squeezes hard enough to hurt. She squeezes back. The medic finishes. Bandages, antibiotics, pain medication that Dario refuses. Need to stay sharp, he mutters. You need to rest, the medic argues. I'll rest when I'm dead. He tries to sit up, gets halfway before Alara pushes him back down. Don't be stupid, she says. You're no good to anyone if you pass out from blood loss in the middle of giving orders. I'm fine. You're bleeding through the bandages already. Shut up and let them help you. Silence. Everyone staring. Then Dario laughs, rough, pained, but genuine. You're getting bossy, he says. I learned from the best. She doesn't let go of his hand. Rest. 20 minutes. That's all I'm asking. Let your body catch up before you throw yourself back into the fire. He studies her. You came back for me. In the building. You should have evacuated. You came for me first. At Victor's compound. Figured I owed you. That's not how this works. That's exactly how it works. She leans closer. You want me to be a partner? Partners save each other. They don't leave each other behind. So shut up about me evacuating and accept that I'm here, for better or worse. Literally. His thumb brushes across her knuckles. For better or worse. Those are wedding vows. Yeah, they are. Their eyes lock. Outside, preparations continue. Weapons distributed, defenses reinforced, people preparing for the fight that's coming. Because it is coming. Victor won't stop until one of them is destroyed. And Dario just drew the line in the concrete of the docks and dared the Russians to cross it. Alara feels the weight of what's about to happen settling over everything like fallout. War. Real war. Not skirmishes. Not strategic hits. Total conflict until someone breaks. She should be terrified, should be looking for escape routes, should be anything except what she is, sitting beside Dario Moretti, holding his hand, preparing to fight beside the man who owns her because somewhere in the last month she stopped being his prisoner and became something else entirely. Something dangerous, something committed, something ready to pull triggers and make impossible choices and stand in the fire if that's what survival requires. Dario's eyes drift closed, exhaustion finally claiming him. Alara stays beside him, keeping watch. Through the container door, she can see the sun rising properly now, light spilling across the docks. Beautiful morning for the end of the world. She squeezes his hand once more. He squeezes back without opening his eyes. And somewhere in the city, Viktor Kozlov is planning his next move, the final move. The one that will determine who survives and who becomes a cautionary tale whispered in back rooms for years to come. Alara takes a deep breath. She knows what's coming, knows what it will cost, knows there's no walking away from this. The woman she was died somewhere between the wedding and this moment. The woman she's becoming is about to be born in blood and fire, and God help anyone who stands in her way. The attack comes at noon. No warning, no posturing, just sudden, overwhelming violence. Victor brings everything, 30 vehicles, maybe 80 men, heavy weapons, coordinated assault from 3 directions simultaneously. The docks erupt into chaos. Alara is thrown to the ground by the first explosion. Her ears ring, dust and smoke everywhere, can't see, can't hear properly. Strong hands pull her up. Dario, awake, armed, moving. Stay with me, he shouts. They run toward cover, bullets chasing them, impacting containers with sounds like thunder. Dario's people return fire. Disciplined, organized, but outnumbered. It's a massacre in progress. And somewhere in the smoke and blood and screaming, Alara makes the choice that changes everything. She picks up a weapon, aims at the men trying to kill her family, and fires. The gun kicks in Alara's hands like something alive. She's firing blind through smoke, aiming at shapes moving through the chaos. Doesn't know if she's hitting anything. Doesn't care. The recoil bruises her palms, her wrists screaming protest, But she keeps pulling the trigger because stopping means dying. Dario fights beside her, not protecting her, fighting with her. They move in tandem without planning it, her covering angles he can't see, him dropping targets before they can line up shots on her position. A container to their left erupts in flames. The heat wave hits like a physical force, throwing them both sideways. Alara's shoulder slams into concrete. Stars explode across her vision. Move! Dario hauls her upright. Blood runs down his face from somewhere. His bandaged shoulder is soaked red. We can't hold this position. An explosion cuts him off, closer this time. The shockwave rattles her teeth. Through the smoke, Alara sees Victor's men advancing, a wall of them, professional, coordinated, sweeping through Dario's defenses like they're tissue paper. They're losing. She can see it in the body language of Dario's people, the retreat becoming rout, the defensive positions collapsing. Fall back! David's voice cuts through the chaos. Regroup at the warehouse. A burst of automatic fire silences him mid-sentence. His body jerks, drops. Lucia screams his name, runs toward him despite the bullets. Gets maybe 3 steps before Dario tackles her, drags her behind cover. He's gone, Dario shouts in her face. He's gone, and you're alive and we need to move now. Lucia's expression is murder and grief twisted together, but she nods. They run. What's left of Dario's people retreat in scattered groups. Some make it, some don't. The Russians pursue without mercy, cutting down anyone too slow or too injured to keep pace. Alara's lungs burn. Her legs threaten to give out, but Dario's hand is iron around her wrist, pulling her forward, and she will not be the reason he dies, so she runs harder. They reach the warehouse, a massive structure at the edge of the docks. Thomas holds the door, rifle in hand, providing covering fire as people flood through. Everyone in, he shouts. Move, move, move. Alara stumbles through the entrance. Dario and Lucia right behind her. Marcus carries a wounded man. Others drag injured teammates. Thomas slams the door, drops the bar. That'll hold maybe 5 minutes. Then we have 5 minutes. Dario's breathing hard, blood everywhere. Not all his. How many made it? Thomas does a quick count. 23. We started with 62 this morning. The number lands like a tombstone. 40 people. Gone. Dead or captured. Destroyed in one brutal assault. Ammunition? Dario asks. Running low. Maybe 2 magazines per person. Less for the wounded. Explosives? Some. Not enough to matter against those numbers. Dario's jaw clenches. He looks around the warehouse, searching for options, angles, anything that might shift the odds. Alara sees it in his eyes, the calculation, the acceptance. They're trapped, outgunned, outnumbered. This is the end. There's a boat, Marcus says suddenly. Service dock on the north side, small, holds maybe 10 people. If we create a distraction, 10 people out of 23. Dario's voice is flat. Who decides who lives? Silence. You do, Lucia says. You and Alara go. Take critical personnel. The rest of us buy you time. No! The word comes from Alara, louder than she intended. Everyone turns. No, we don't sacrifice half the people here so the other half can maybe escape. That's not a plan. That's surrender with extra steps. You have a better idea? Thomas asks. Not hostile, genuinely asking. Alara's mind races. She's seen Dario's operations, seen how they function, seen the weak points and the strengths. Victor brought everything here, she says slowly, working through it as she speaks. 80 men, heavy weapons, multiple vehicles. That's his entire force concentrated in one location. Which is why we're losing, Marcus points out. But it also means everywhere else is undefended. His warehouses, his safe houses, his money. She turns to Dario. You showed me the financial operations, the accounts, the shell companies. I remember the access codes from the briefing. Dario's eyes narrow. You want to rob him while he's killing us? I want to make him choose between finishing us and saving his empire. If we can hit his financial infrastructure hard enough, fast enough, he'll have to pull back, regroup. That gives us the opening we need. How do we hit anything from here? We're pinned down. We don't. But Thomas can. Alara looks at the financial coordinator. You have remote access to banking systems. You can move money, hide it, destroy records. If I give you Victor's account information, can you drain him? Thomas blinks. Theoretically, yes. If the access codes are current, if their security hasn't been updated, Can you or can't you? I can try, but I'd need time. 30 minutes minimum to break their encryption and move enough money to hurt. Then we buy you 30 minutes. Alara turns to Dario. We make them think we're trying to escape. Draw them to the south side. While they're focused there, Thomas works. When Victor realizes his money is disappearing, he'll have to respond. That's when we actually move. Dario stares at her. That's insane. You have a better option? He doesn't. They both know it. Do it, he tells Thomas. Set up somewhere secure. Start pulling their financial network apart. Thomas nods, grabs his equipment. 2 others go with him, heading deeper into the warehouse where they might have a chance. Dario turns to the rest. The plan is simple. We make noise on the south side, draw their attention, hold for 30 minutes, then we extract via the north boat. Questions? Yeah, Lucia says. Who stays behind to keep making noise after we evacuate? Nobody stays behind. Dario's voice is steel. We set timers. Explosives throughout the south section. They detonate on sequence. Keep the Russians occupied while we're already gone. It's a lie. They all know it. There's not enough explosives for that kind of sustained distraction. Someone will have to stay, hold the line, make the sacrifice real. But nobody argues, because arguing wastes time they don't have. They move. The warehouse becomes organized chaos. Explosives planted at key points. Weapons distributed. Wounded positioned where they can still fight. Everyone understands the math, the odds, the cost of the next 30 minutes. Alara finds herself checking her gun. The one she picked up in the firefight. She's down to 1 magazine, maybe 15 rounds. 15 bullets between her and whatever comes next. Hey! She looks up. Lucia stands there, blood on her face, grief in her eyes, but standing. David, Lucia says quietly, he would have liked you, would have respected what you just did, taking charge, thinking tactical instead of emotional. I'm sorry about David, about all of this. Don't apologize. We chose this life, all of us. We knew the risks. Lucia checks her own weapon. But you? You got dragged into this, sold like property, and now you're here planning operations and making life or death calls. She trails off. That's something. I don't feel like something. I feel like I'm drowning and pretending to swim. That's all survival ever is. Pretending until the pretending becomes real. Lucia grips her shoulder. If we make it out of this, you're family. Actually family. Not just by marriage. Understood? Alara nods. Can't speak around the tightness in her throat. Lucia moves on, checking on others, being the leader she was trained to be. Dario appears at Alara's elbow. South wall is ready. Victor's people are forming up for final assault. 2 minutes. Thomas? Working. Says he's made contact with their banking system, needs more time. Then we give it to him. She looks at Dario. Really looks. Blood and exhaustion and something else. Something that wasn't there 5 weeks ago when they stood at an altar with a gun between them. If this goes wrong, it won't. But if it does, I need you to know... The words stick. She forces them out. I choose this. Not the marriage, not the situation, but this moment, this fight, you. I choose you. His hand comes up, cups her face, thumb smearing blood across her cheekbone. I know, he says. I chose you too. The second I saw you in that cell. Maybe before that. Doesn't matter. What matters is we walk out of here together or not at all. That's dramatic. That's accurate. He leans forward, presses his forehead to hers. Stay alive, Alara. Whatever it takes. Stay alive. Then he's moving, shouting orders, getting people in position. The Russians hit the south wall like a tsunami. The firefight is apocalyptic. Bullets shred the air. Explosives turn cover into shrapnel. The warehouse groans under the assault, metal screaming, supports bending. Alara fires from behind a container, aims for center mass like Dario showed her in the 30 seconds he had to give instruction. Doesn't let herself think about the fact that she's trying to kill people. Just pulls the trigger. Watches shapes fall. Moves to new position when incoming fire gets too close. The Russians are professional. They advance in coordinated waves, use suppressing fire, flank methodically. But Dario's people are desperate, and desperate makes you dangerous. Lucia fights like something possessed. She's everywhere at once, covering gaps, dragging wounded, dropping targets with precision that speaks to years of training. Marcus holds the western approach. 3 men with him. They're a wall of lead. Nothing gets through until a grenade lands in their position. The explosion throws bodies. Marcus gets up. His men don't. He keeps fighting alone. Dario moves through it all like death incarnate. His shoulder must be screaming. Blood loss should have dropped him by now. But he keeps going, keeps shooting, keeps holding the line through sheer force of will. Alara's magazine runs dry. She drops behind cover, fumbles for the spare. Hand shaking so badly she almost drops it. A Russian appears over the barricade, gun aimed at her head. Time slows. She sees his finger tighten on the trigger, sees the moment before her death arrive with crystalline clarity. Then Dario's knife appears in the man's throat. The Russian drops. Dario vaults the barricade, retrieves his knife, doesn't even look at Alara. "Reload faster," he says. "They're pushing hard on the east flank." His phone buzzes. He pulls it out, reads something. His expression transforms. "Thomas got it," Dario breathes. "He's in their accounts, transferring everything. Victor's entire empire is bleeding money right now." As if on cue, the assault pauses. Not stops, just pauses. Hesitation rippling through the Russian ranks. Then shouting. Russian words Alara doesn't understand, but the tone is clear. Confusion, panic. Someone screaming orders. "They know," Lucia says. "They're realizing what's happening." The Russians pull back. Not a rout. Organized withdrawal, leaving suppressing fire, but retreating to regroup. Dario grabs his radio. "Thomas, status?" Thomas's voice comes through crackling with static. "Transferred 300 million so far, spreading it across 200 accounts, deleting access records. They'll never recover it. But boss, they're gonna know it came from us, from this location. When they figure it out, how long until they do?" "Minutes, maybe less. Their IT people are good." An explosion rocks the warehouse. Not from the south wall, from deeper inside, where Thomas is working. "They found me," Thomas gasps over the radio. "They're in the building, multiple contacts." Gunfire over the radio, screaming, then static. "Thomas!" Dario's voice cracks. "Thomas, respond!" Nothing. Lucia's face drains of color. "They flanked us. While we were focused on the south wall, they sent a team around. They're inside." As if to confirm it, gunfire erupts from within the warehouse. Closer, coming from the direction of their only exit. The north dock, the boat, the escape route. Cut off. Dario's expression goes cold. The calculation Alara's seen so many times before. Assessing, planning, accepting. "We're boxed in," Marcus states. "South wall is Russian forces. North dock is compromised. No way out." "Then we make one." Dario reloads. "Lucia, take 10 people. Hit the north dock hard. Clear it. Get to that boat." "And you?" "I'm going for Thomas. If he's alive, we get him out. If he's not, I make sure they can't undo what he did." Dario looks at Alara. "You go with Lucia." "No. This isn't negotiable." "You're right. It's not. I'm going with you." Alara stands. Every muscle protests. Doesn't matter. "You said together or not at all. I meant it." "Alara, we don't have time to argue. Every second we waste, more people die." She meets his eyes. "Lead. I'll follow. But I'm following you, not Lucia." For 1 second, Dario looks like he might argue. Then he nods. "Stay close. Do exactly what I say. If I tell you to run, you run. Deal?" "Deal." Lucia grabs them both. "You're both insane, but you're my insane people, so don't die." She kisses Dario's cheek, squeezes Alara's hand. "See you at the boat." Then she's moving, taking her team, heading north into the firefight. Dario and Alara go deeper into the warehouse, toward the sound of dying. They find Thomas in what used to be an office. He's on the floor. Multiple gunshot wounds. Laptop still open beside him. Screen showing banking transfers still processing. He's alive. Barely. "Boss, he gasps when he sees Dario. Blood bubbles on his lips. Got it. Got all of it. 340 million. Gone. They'll never. Stop talking. Save your strength. Dario kneels beside him, tries to assess the wounds. Too many. Too severe. No point. Thomas coughs. More blood. Lung. Maybe both. I can feel it, drowning from inside. We can get you to a hospital. No time. No chance. Thomas's hand grabs Dario's shirt. You have to go. Russians are everywhere. Coming for you. For her. They know what we did. Victor's on his way personally. He's... Cough. Struggle for air. He's going to kill everyone. Burn it all. Make an example. Let him try. Dario, listen. Thomas's grip tightens with dying strength. The transfers. I routed them through your personal accounts. Made it look like you orchestrated everything. Which you did. But it means every penny is traceable to you. Victor wants his money back. He has to keep you alive. That's your leverage. That's your... His eyes go distant. The grip loosens. Thomas exhales one last time and doesn't inhale again. Dario closes his eyes. God damn it. Dario. Ilara touches his shoulder. We have to move. He said Victor's coming. I heard. Dario stands, takes the laptop. If the money's in my accounts, we need to secure them. Make sure Victor can't just torture the access codes out of me and reverse everything. How? Delete my access, lock the accounts with encryption Thomas set up. Make it so only he could unlock them. Except he's dead. So the money is functionally frozen forever unless Victor's tech people can break military-grade encryption, which might take years. He starts typing. Ilara watches the hallway, listening for approaching enemies. Footsteps. Multiple people. Moving with purpose. Dario. Almost done. 10 seconds. The Russians round the corner. 4 of them. Weapons raised. Ilara fires first. Doesn't think. Doesn't hesitate. Just pulls the trigger until her magazine empties. 2 Russians drop. The others dive for cover. Dario finishes typing, slams the laptop closed, grabs Ilara's arm. They run. Back through the warehouse, dodging between containers, bullets chasing them. The Russians right behind. They burst into the main floor just as Lucia's firefight at the North Dock reaches crescendo. Explosions. Sustained gunfire. Screaming. No way through that. No way back. No way out. Dario pulls Ilara behind a container. We're pinned. North is blocked. South is blocked. They're closing the circle. The boat, probably compromised. Even if Lucia clears the dock, we can't reach it from here. Ilara's mind races, trying to find the angle, the option, anything. Then she sees it. The crane, massive, used for moving containers, positioned near the edge of the dock. The arm extends out over the water. Can you operate that? She points. Dario follows her gaze. Theoretically, why? Because it's our exit. We climb the crane, get to the end of the arm. Jump. That's a 30-foot drop into water that might be 6 feet deep or might be 30. Could break every bone in our bodies, or it could save us. You have a better idea? He doesn't. They move. The crane is partially exposed. Crossing to it means 10 seconds in the open. 10 seconds where they're perfect targets. On 3, Dario says. 1, 2. Gunfire erupts from new direction. Russians pouring in from the east, dozens of them. And at their head, Viktor Kozlov himself. He sees Dario. Sees Ilara. His face transforms into pure rage. Moretti! Victor's voice carries over the chaos. You stole from me! Destroyed my money! Killed my men! There is nowhere you can run that I will not find you. Then stop talking and come get me, Dario shouts back. He grabs Ilara's hand. They run for the crane. Bullets kick up concrete at their heels. Victor's men firing, missing, firing again. They reach the crane, start climbing. The ladder is slick with moisture. Ilara's hands slip. Dario catches her, pushes her upward. Below, Russians swarm the base, start climbing after them. Ilara climbs faster. Muscles screaming, lungs burning. Don't look down, don't think, just climb. They reach the operator's cabin. Dario smashes the window, pulls her inside. Can you drive? He asks while frantically working controls. No. Then hold them off. He's got the crane moving, the arm swinging out over the water, slow, too slow. Alara looks down. Russians halfway up the ladder, closing fast. She's out of ammunition, no weapon, nothing but the laptop. Thomas's laptop with all the financial data. She opens the cabin door, leans out, sees the lead Russian maybe 10 feet below. She throws the laptop. It hits him square in the face. He loses his grip, falls, takes the two men below him down with him. They hit the ground hard. Don't get up. But more keep climbing. The crane arm is almost in position, extended fully over the water, maybe 40 feet out from the dock. Jump, Dario shouts. What about you? Right behind you. Go. Alara climbs out of the cabin onto the arm. It's narrow, wet, terrifying. She looks down at the water. Can't tell how deep it is. Can't see rocks. Can't see anything but dark water that might be safety or might be death. Russians are climbing onto the arm from the other end, 3 of them, moving carefully but fast enough. Alara closes her eyes, jumps. The fall lasts forever and no time at all. She hits the water like hitting concrete. The impact drives air from her lungs. Cold shocks her system. She goes under, disoriented. Which way is up? Panic threatens. She forces it down, kicks, finds surface, gasps air. Behind her, a splash. Dario surfaces beside her. Swim! Shore is 50 yards. Gunfire from above. Bullets punch into water around them. They swim. Alara's never been a strong swimmer. Her clothes weigh 1,000 pounds. Her arms feel like lead. But she swims. Because stopping means drowning or getting shot, and neither is acceptable. Dario stays beside her, matching her pace. When she falters, he's there, holding her up, keeping her moving. They reach the far shore, haul themselves onto rocky ground, collapse, gasping. Above them, on the docks, the firefight continues. Lucia's team fighting Russians. Explosions. Chaos. We have to help them, Alara gasps. We can't. Dario's breathing hard. We're unarmed, soaked, exhausted. We go back, we die. So we just leave them? We trust Lucia to do what she does best. Survive. He pulls Alara to her feet. Come on. We're not safe here. They stumble inland, away from the docks, away from the battle, through industrial wasteland that all looks the same. Alara's legs give out after maybe a quarter mile. She goes down hard. Can't get up. Everything hurts. Everything's too heavy. I can't, she whispers. I can't keep going. Yes, you can. Dario kneels beside her. You're Alara Moretti. You negotiated with Viktor Kozlov. You saved 7 traitors. You came back for me in a burning building. You just orchestrated the theft of $300 million and jumped off a crane into open water. You can walk another quarter mile. Moretti, she repeats. You called me Moretti. That's your name now, whether you want it or not. He helps her stand. Come on, just a little further, then we rest. They walk, one step, another, each one harder than the last. Alara's vision tunnels, her hearing goes distant. She's operating on autopilot. One foot in front of the other because Dario says to. Because stopping means dying, because she's not ready to die yet. Not after everything. Finally, Dario stops. Here. They've reached an abandoned building. Partial roof, 3 walls, better than nothing. They collapse inside. Hidden from view, safe for the moment. Alara's shivering uncontrollably. Adrenaline crash mixing with cold, wet clothes. Her teeth chatter. Dario strips off his jacket, wraps it around her shoulders. It's soaked too, but it's something. How bad? She asks through chattering teeth. Don't know yet. We lost a lot of people. Don't know who made it to the boat. Don't know if Lucia... His voice cracks. Don't know anything except we're alive and Victor is probably tearing the city apart looking for us. The money? Gone. Thomas locked it so tight even I can't access it. Victor's financially crippled. But that makes him more dangerous, not less. Desperate men do desperate things. They sit in silence, listening to distant sirens, the city responding to the war zone at the docks. What happens now? Alara finally asks. I don't know. Dario's honesty is more frightening than any lie. Victor's going to want revenge. Russo's going to see the chaos and make moves. Other families will circle like sharks. Everything I built is probably burning right now. So we lost. We survived. That's not the same as losing. He looks at her. You asked me once why I couldn't just walk away. Start over. This is why. Because the world doesn't let people like me retire. You leave, they hunt you. You show weakness, they destroy you. The only way out is through. Through what? Everything. Every fight. Every war. Until you win so completely nobody questions anymore. Or until you lose and become a cautionary tale. He touches her face. I'm sorry for dragging you into this. Don't. Alara puts her hand over his. I chose. Remember? I chose you. I chose this. Whatever happens next, we face it together. Together might mean running, disappearing, losing everything. I already lost everything the day my father sold me. Whatever I have now, I built from ashes. I can do it again. They sit in the ruins of an abandoned building wearing soaked clothes and carrying enough trauma to drown in, and something passes between them that's been building since a gunshot at an altar 5 weeks ago. Not love. Not yet. But something that could become love if they survive long enough. Understanding. Partnership. The recognition that they're both broken things that somehow fit together. My phone survived, Dario says after a while. Pulls it out. Waterlogged, but functional. I have one contact left who might help. Owes me a favor. Big enough to risk pissing off Victor. Who? Someone from my father's era. Retired. Powerful enough that Victor can't touch him. If I call in his debt, he might broker a truce, or at least a temporary ceasefire long enough for us to regroup. What's it cost? Everything I have left. The territories, the operations. Basically surrender everything except our lives. Alara considers this. Do it. You don't know what you're saying. I know exactly what I'm saying. Money can be remade. Territory can be retaken. Lives can't. If we're dead, none of the rest matters. So we surrender what we have to. We survive. And then we rebuild. Dario searches her face. You really mean that? I really do. He makes the call. The conversation is brief, terse. Coordinates exchanged, promises made. When he hangs up, his expression is unreadable. It's done. Neutral meeting in 6 hours. Me, Victor, and the mediator. Terms negotiated. If we're lucky, we walk away with our lives. And if we're not lucky, then at least we go down fighting. Holt. The meeting happens in a place that feels like the end of the world. An old factory on the city outskirts. Abandoned for decades. Rust and decay and broken dreams made manifest. Dario and Alara arrive first. He's armed. She's not. They agreed she'd be the non-combatant. The civilian presence that might make Victor hesitate before starting another firefight. Victor arrives 20 minutes later. He brings 10 men, all armed, all looking hungry for violence. The mediator is last. An old man who moves with the careful dignity of someone who's survived 6 decades in this world by being too valuable to kill. His name is Salvatore. He knew Dario's father, knows where all the bodies are buried. They meet in the center of the factory floor, 4 people, enough weapons to start another war, enough history to fuel it. Salvatore speaks first. Gentlemen and lady, we are here because the alternative is mutual destruction. Victor, you've lost most of your financial infrastructure. Dario, you've lost most of your operational capacity. You can continue fighting until you're both corpses, or you can negotiate. He stole from me, Victor snarls. $300 million. My life's work. I want it back. Can't give it back, Dario says flatly. The accounts are locked. The man who encrypted them is dead. The money might as well not exist. Then you die. Slowly. Painfully. You and everyone you've ever cared about, which accomplishes what? You'll still be broke. I'll still be dead. And Salvatore will carve up what's left of both our territories. Dario's voice is cold, rational. Or we make a deal. You get enough to rebuild. I get to keep breathing. Everyone loses less than they would in continued war. Victor's face is purple with rage. You expect me to negotiate with the man who destroyed me? I expect you to count bodies and do math, Dario shoots back. You brought 80 men to the docks. Maybe 20 walked away. I lost 40. Salvatore's people are already moving into the vacuum we created. You fight me, you lose to him. I fight you, same result. We're both bleeding out while he drinks our blood. Salvatore smiles thinly, doesn't confirm or deny. What are you proposing? Victor asks through clenched teeth. You get my territories, all of them, free and clear. The clubs, the warehouses, the distribution networks. Everything I control becomes yours. In exchange, you let me and mine walk away. No retaliation, no hunting us, clean break. That's not enough. It's more than you'd get otherwise. Because right now you have nothing. No money, no complete operational capacity, half your men dead. Taking my territories gives you infrastructure to rebuild, gives you income streams to replace what Thomas destroyed. Dario leans forward. And it saves face. You don't lose to me. You absorb my empire as the price for my betrayal. You look strong. I look defeated. Everyone wins. Silence. Victor's jaw works. He wants to refuse, wants to watch Dario die. But he's a businessman first. And the business makes sense. What about her? Victor points to Alara. Your wife. The one who lied to my face. Leaves with me. Non-negotiable. She humiliated my wife, made fools of us both. She was terrified and trying to survive, same as anyone would be. Dario's hand moves to his weapon. And she's mine. You don't touch what's mine. You have no leverage to make demands. I have the leverage of mutually assured destruction. You push, I push back. We both end up dead and Salvatore wins. Or you take the deal, get my territories, rebuild your empire, and I disappear so thoroughly you'll forget I existed. Victor looks at Salvatore. You support this agreement? I support anything that stops the bleeding. This war has destabilized the entire city. My businesses suffer when chaos reigns. So yes, I support Dario's proposal, with one addition. What addition? Dario asks carefully. You don't just walk away. You leave the city, permanently. I don't care where you go, but you don't operate here ever again. This becomes Victor's territory exclusively. Understood? Alara's heart sinks. Leave the city. Leave everything. Her family. Mara. Her entire life. Gone. But Dario doesn't hesitate. Understood. We leave. Tonight. You'll never see us again. Then we have agreement, Salvatore says. Victor gets territories. Dario gets his life. The city gets peace. He looks at both men. Shake hands. Make it binding. For a long moment, neither moves. Then Victor extends his hand. Dario takes it. The handshake lasts exactly 1 second. Both men look like they'd rather be strangling each other. But it's done. The war is over. Folks, they have 6 hours to leave the city. Dario spends it making calls, coordinating with what's left of his people. Lucia survived. She made it to the boat with 8 others. They're in hiding. Dario arranges transport for them. New identities. Money enough to start over. Marcus died in the warehouse. Thomas is gone. David is gone. So many others. The butcher's bill for 1 month of Alara's life. She sits in a hotel room Dario rented under a false name and stares at her phone, the one he gave her. 3 contacts. Dario, Lucia, emergency, her entire world. She should call Mara, say goodbye, explain why she's disappearing. But she can't. Mara is 14, pure, still believes in happy endings. Hearing the truth would destroy that. And Alara has destroyed enough. So she doesn't call, just sits holding the phone and mourning the sister she'll never see again. Dario finds her there an hour before they have to leave. Lucia's secure, he says. The others too. Everyone who survived has a way out and enough money to disappear. Good. You okay? No, but I will be. Eventually. Maybe. She looks at him. Where are we going? South. Mexico first, then maybe further. Somewhere warm, somewhere they don't ask questions about Americans with cash and no history. Sounds lovely. Sounds like exile. He sits beside her. I'm sorry, for all of it. You deserve better than this. I deserved what I got, which was survival. That's more than a lot of people can say. She takes his hand. We're alive. We're together. We're not in prison or dead. In this world, that counts as winning. Is that what we're calling it? That's what I'm calling it. You can call it whatever you want. She leans against him. Thank you. For not leaving me behind, for fighting through hell to get me out of that cell, for choosing me when it would have been easier to cut losses. Easier isn't always right. No, it's not. They sit in silence until it's time to go. Buzzed. The car takes them to a private airfield. Small plane, no flight plan filed, cash payment, the kind of travel that leaves no records. Alara boards the plane carrying nothing but the clothes Dario bought her and the phone with 3 contacts. Everything else, her old life, her family, her identity, stays behind. The plane lifts off into night sky. Below, the city glitters. Millions of lights, each one a life, a story, a person who doesn't know or care about the war that just ended. Alara watches it shrink into the distance and feels something she can't quite name. Not quite grief, not quite relief. Acceptance, maybe. She turned to look at Dario. He's staring out his window at nothing, lost in thoughts she can't read. Hey, she says softly. He turns. We're going to be okay, she tells him. I don't know how, I don't know when, but we're going to rebuild, start over, make something better than what we lost. You sound certain. I am certain, because we survived the impossible. Everything else is just details. She takes his hand, laces their fingers together. I choose you. I chose you in that warehouse. I chose you jumping off that crane. I choose you now, so whatever comes next, we face it together. Dario's thumb strokes across her knuckles. Together, for better or worse. For better or worse, she agrees. Literally. He leans in, kisses her. It's their first real kiss. Not performance for witnesses. Not strategy. Just 2 people who've been through hell acknowledging something that's been building since the beginning. When they part, Alara sees something in his eyes she's never seen before. Hope. Actual hope. Where do we start, she asks. With new names, new identities. Then we find somewhere quiet. Somewhere we can breathe, figure out who we are when we're not fighting for survival every second. And after that, he considers, we build something real. Not an empire, not a criminal network, just a life. With each other, see where it goes. Alara nods. I can do that. Yeah. The plane flies south through darkness toward morning. Below, the world sleeps, unaware, uncaring. 2 people leave everything behind and disappear into the night like smoke. A month ago, Alara Voss stood beneath lights that felt like prison bars, became a bride to a monster, lost everything she thought she was. Tonight, she's someone else entirely. Alara Moretti, criminal's wife, war survivor, woman who looked into the abyss and didn't blink. The cathedral lights are gone. The prison bars are gone. What remains is harder, colder, more dangerous, but also free. Actually free. For the first time in her life, Alara makes her own choices, charts her own course, becomes the author of her own story instead of a character in someone else's tragedy. It cost everything. It was worth it. She closes her eyes. Dario's hand warm in hers, the plane carrying them toward whatever comes next. And in the darkness behind her eyelids, she smiles. Because the woman who stepped into that war zone wearing silk survived. Became steel. Became unbreakable. Became exactly who she needed to be. And that's enough. For now. For always. The end. Somewhere in Mexico 6 months later. The beach house is small. White walls, blue shutters, garden with flowers. Alara tends every morning. She's barefoot in the sand, coffee in hand, watching the sunrise paint the ocean in shades of gold and pink. Behind her, the door opens. Dario emerges. Hair longer than he used to wear it, beard growing in. He looks different, younger somehow. The permanent tension in his shoulders finally easing. Morning, he says. Morning? She doesn't turn, just keeps watching the water. Lucia called. She settled in Barcelona, likes it there, thinking about opening a restaurant. Good for her. Marcus's family got the survivor fund. They're taken care of. Good. They stand side by side, not touching, just existing in the same space, peaceful. I heard from Mara yesterday, Alara says quietly. She sent a letter to the P.O. box. Wants to know where I am, if I'm happy. What did you tell her? Nothing yet. Still figuring out what to say. She sips her coffee. That I'm sorry, that I love her, that I'm alive and safe, and she should move on with her life without me in it. That'll break her heart. Yeah, but it's better than the truth. Ilara finally turns, looks at him. You okay with this? The quiet? The normal? I'm getting there. Some days are harder than others. But yeah, I'm okay. He moves closer, wraps his arms around her from behind, chin on her shoulder. We're okay. She leans back into him. Yeah, we are. They watch the sunrise together. Two people who found each other in the darkest possible circumstances and somehow made it through. Not unscarred, not unchanged, but alive. Together, free. And that's enough. That's everything. The waves crash against the shore, the sun climbs higher, and somewhere far away in a city they used to call home, life goes on without them. Exactly as it should.